What is up, everyone? How's it going? Just dealing with the tail end of a headache right now, because just pounded a couple of ibuprofen and Tylenol before I started here. How's everyone doing this week? How's your 2025 been going, everybody? So, yeah, had to deal with some family drama over the weekend. Well, for one, had to go to a funeral. That's always a fun thing to go to, right? Funerals. Wonderful. Ain't no way there's gonna be family drama going down at a funeral, right? Well, that's what normal people would think, right? Not my family. There's a reason why I haven't really dealt with either one of my parents in quite a while, and my mother was the one I cut off first. Came back up to Uni City, which is great, but exams suck. That's one of the reasons why I hate going through certs or anything like that, because it just takes a while, and it's demoralizing. And I swear to God, exams have given me PTSD, because, yeah, that CISSP exam was nerve-wracking when I did it. With different username. Nice. What family member was it? One I haven't talked to in a few years, but it was still awkward enough because I'm still in touch with my cousins, and it was their mother. And their mother was still friends with my mother, which is how my mother started some drama at the funeral. Yeah. If y'all don't know me by now, I am not the drama-loving type as much as a lot of people like to paint me. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna pull up a bucket of popcorn when I do see some drama happening and just, be like, I'm gonna enjoy this shit. But I ain't the type to have drama myself. Or at least I do my best to avoid it. So after many years of dealing with my mom, it's one of those things, because remember, when you're dealing with a narcissist, and I'm not throwing that term out lightly, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's sometimes the most effed up reason that you stop speaking and they make it seem like you're the cause of it. But at the same time, I look at it this way. To keep my sanity and know that I wasn't really in the wrong here, at least for my specific situation. When you look around in your life, and if you ever want to figure out if you're the problem, just do this metric. Take a look around. Take assessment of your entire relationship circle, friends, family, you name it. If you find most of the people in your life end up having an issue with you, then you're the problem. And this is how I actually judge a lot of the friends, or should I say former friends, when I keep their relationships, is I start, when I get to meet, their circle of people, you judge a person by the company they keep. If it smells like shit everywhere you go, exactly. So, okay, if it were just me having an issue with my mother, okay, yeah, I'm probably a shitty son. I could accept that. Because, you have shitty behavior, identify it, you can find a change there. But when you find out her own sister's not speaking to her, you find out, as crazy as my dad is, the reasons why he cut my mom off and left her. All that, Then you can start realizing, wait a minute, almost all the people that I happen to know that know this person all have issues with that particular person. Maybe it ain't me. Hey, hopefully you guys in the USA do not invade Greenland. I got friends there. The honest truth is, and I think this is what we have to understand. I think a lot of people misunderstand the United States military. Here's what I mean by that. I know a lot of people think that the president can just come over, command the military, and the military will just fall in line, lock in step with whatever the president wants. My friends, do you realize that there are millions of Americans in the United States military, many of whom are capable of individual thought? Some of the biggest hippies come out of military service. And you really want to tell me there ain't a bunch of conscientious objectors that are probably going to look over and be like, why the hell are we doing this? Here's the reality of the situation. Y'all can say, well, what about Afghanistan? What about Iraq? I grew up during that time. That was a whole way different reason. We're going to go after the war on terror. We're going to go after bin Laden. We're going to get revenge for 9/11. We had a driving force behind us. Go ahead. Ask any military member that joined the U.S. military post 9/11. Ask them, why did they join? I'm going to guarantee you that almost every single one of them is going to say 9/11. Because God knows that was the reason why I was considering it at one point. So when you understand that there was an actual, like, bonding moment for the United States. Like, here's what you can look at. World War I, why did it happen? Sinking of the Lusitania. And that whole yellow journalism spat. All right. World War II. They touched our boat. Don't touch. World War I and World War II. Why did it happen? They touched our boat. Although the first one, the sinking of the Lusitania, was it the sinking of the Lusitania? I think it was. I think it was just an engine that actually blew up and they blamed it on the foreign war. But anyway. Then you had Korea. Why was Korea happening? We gotta stop the spread of communism. Okay? Be that as it may, whatever your opinions are, hindsight's 2020, there was the red threat. There was this whole animosity between the Soviet Union and the U.S. just kind of built up over time, and we had all these proxy wars and everything. Vietnam, you could say the same thing. But Vietnam is also where I think a lot of Americans lost a lot of faith in the U.S. government and the idea of why we were going to war on different things. Okay? You know, you can fast forward through these different wars. It's like you go, the first Gulf War. Pretty much it was, well, we're there to protect the oil and stabilize the economy, and there's a whole human rights issue. 9/11, that started the whole war on terror thing. But what is the driving force right now if Donald Trump were to go to the United States military and saying, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go take over the Panama Canal. We're going to go invade Greenland. Y'all with me? Do you really think that most Americans are going to, like, stand back there and go, rah! The dumb ones will. But I think even most military people are going to be like, why the fuck we going there? Oh, yeah, you got the tariffs and all that. Please suggest for me a free open source VPN for Linux. It's called Making Your Own on OpenVPN or WireGuard. I kind of touch a little bit about that on my YouTube, but the honest truth is the only way to have a free VPN that you can trust is one that you make yourself, and there's no such thing as truly being free. You're paying for it somehow, either in your time or your money. And I think a lot of people need to get away from the concept of free being beneficial. Because here's the thing. If you go to one of those free VPN providers, Proton VPN not included, how do you think they make their money? I want you to think about that for a second. Before you actually go down this route of, oh, a VPN is going to make me more private, go watch the video that I have that I mentioned where, what did I actually call it? I think I called it VPNs are misunderstood and overhyped. No. The truth about VPNs, overhyped, misunderstood, and not a silver bullet. Watch that video before you go thinking about making a VPN. Then once you understand how VPNs work, what their purpose is, and how you can use them, you're going to realize A VPN ain't going to help you much more than for geo-blocking and stuff like that. VPNs are scams now? No, they're not. They're not a scam. The problem is that most people are ignorant as to what a VPN's actual true purpose is, how they actually work, and they misunderstand the entire technology. Let me put it this way. If you are sitting here thinking that a VPN's sole purpose is for you to be able to have your internet connection appear as if you're somewhere else, you don't even understand what a VPN was originally created for. That happens to be a byproduct of the core functionality of a VPN. You have a YouTube channel? Absolutely. Chief Geek 3D. Same username as on all of my other platforms. I'm also on Blue Sky, Mastodon. I mentioned YouTube. We're on Twitch. We also have a TikTok for as long as that lasts. Probably going to go away soon. So make sure to follow me on YouTube. Make sure to follow me on Twitch. Make sure to follow me on Blue Sky and Mastodon. I'm not on X. I'm not on Twitter. And Threads is starting to go to hell in a handbasket, too. I don't know if y'all saw that news. Instagram, I technically have an Instagram. I haven't reactivated it yet. I haven't sat down and turned it back on yet, but I do have a Pixel Fed. Not sure if I'm going to be doing as much Instagram content as people want. Overall, because Meta's going down a path. They're going down a path that I don't really think that I can understand. Is going to do... It's really going to harm Meta in the long term. We'll get to that in a second. I just use it to use Netflix in US and Japan. Just get Proton VPN. Be happy with it. Disclaimer, I am affiliated with Proton, but I've been using them longer than I have actually been endorsing them. I think the guys that stormed the Congress would listen to Trump. Those are the same schmucks that would believe, shit. Hell, if I walked up to those, a lot of those people would believe anything. I mean, for fuck's sake, if you actually talk to, I'm not talking about the moderates here. I'm talking about the actual die-hard MAGA people. Have you ever talked to a lot of these people? I have a couple of them. I'm not going to say that they're related to me, but they're friends of my family. They're kind of family because we've known them so long, but you get that. Everyone has that. Anyway. Oh my God, they really are dumb. And don't get me wrong. I am the type of person that will not call one person dumb just for the beliefs that they hold. I will call them dumb if your beliefs are stupid. There's a complete difference. I can agree to disagree. Look, you come at me and say, you know, I believe, you know, how can I put it this way? If someone comes to me and makes a actual civilized case-by-case pointed argument for, like, socialism's a better system, I'll entertain them. I'll do the same thing for a capitalist one. But if you end up being a tanky and come at me and tell me, you know, Maoism wasn't true communism or some shit like that, yeah, I'm gonna call you an idiot. I'm just being honest. So yeah, Trump is probably getting whacked. So, disclaimer here. I am not endorsing violence in any way, shape, or form. Never have, never will. I'm a big proponent of the non-aggression principle, if you actually know what that is. If you don't, you can Google that. Anyway, it basically translates to, for those of you that don't know, fuck around and find out. But you won't find out unless you start fucking around. Anyway, thank you for the follow there, Kyle Writes Code. So anyway, yeah, I've been talking about this with a lot of friends. Here's the reality of the situation. Okay. God damn it, my aluminum foil is upstairs. Okay, so pretend I have aluminum foil on my head right now. All right? This is a tinfoil hat conspiracy moment, if you will, okay? A lot of the things that he's doing and talking about are kind of the things that people have joked about the CIA whacking people off for. A lot of the things that Trump is proposing wouldn't just cause issues for allies and enemies abroad. But there are components inside the state government as it exists right now that would be harmed. And while a J.D. Vance presidency is not ideal, it would be more predictable than a Donald Trump one. That is the reality. So, if you put that in that idea, look, foreign adversaries would rather work with a more predictable leader of a country. State heads would prefer the same. Stability benefits everyone. Okay? And right now, I don't think y'all realize it, what a powder keg the entire world has been set up right now. Between the past few years, you've got Iran with their thing, North Korea with their thing, the Russians right now. I mean, the fact that, North Korea is giving armaments, or is it just ammunition? Either way, to Russia. Russia's getting desperate and backed into a corner. What is it? They think they've reduced energy dependence in the EU from something like 40% on Russian gas to just around 15%. Ukraine just shut down the pipelines to Russia that actually was paying Ukraine, if I remember this information correctly. And Russia is and now it's interesting is when I was studying the oil market, gas prices aren't expected to go up nearly as much as they did in the beginning of the Ukraine crisis because of the shifts in the economic of the oil commodities. But wholesale prices of oil have gone up, but it's going to take a few months for those prices to ripple through because the oil that is out there right now, crude, hasn't been processed and refined. So we'll probably have, 6 to 8 months, I think it is, in a lead time till we start seeing gas prices start trickling up. Well, Russia's been trying, not just Russia, Libya, and a few other countries have tried to topple the U.S. currency. And the reality is, strategically, it makes sense. If I were to knock off a world currency, the first things I would do, now, tinfoil hat again, is I would depeg it from a materials asset, similar to what Nixon did when he depegged gold off of the dollar, or depegged the dollar off of gold. Now what that only means is at this point, in order to erode the dollar as being the world's reserve currency, you then have to make the entire world lose faith, trust, and confidence in the United States government. Because the dollar itself is only backed by our faith, trust, and confidence in the U.S. government. So in a sense, it makes sense, but at the same time, Russia isn't the mighty, government that they really once were under the Soviet Union. Deleted Linux because I couldn't play old games like Just Cause 2. I haven't played that, but I haven't had issues with old games. Thanks for the follow, Pseudo-Intersect. Pre-Nixon, all worldwide currencies lost their gold standard and were pegged against the dollar, helped keep the U.S. in charge. Yeah, you had the whole, Marshall Plan, you had there were several different things going on to export U.S. culture in multiple ways, and an export of a country's culture is in many ways more important than the export of assets because it's a form of soft power. That's how a lot of these countries gain more relevance and not awareness or that, but with other countries. Look, think about it this way. When you think Japan, what do y'all think? You think, what? Anime, manga, cars, trains, sushi, yeah. A lot of those are cultural exports. Hitachi. What kind of Hitachi? If you know, you know. What's up, Prisms? How's it going? Oh, you can go in any country and find sexual repression. Let's just be honest there. Thanks for following. There you go, Stoffson. Oh, thought you were already following. The Class 801, not Hitachi Ozuma trains, of course. Sure. But yeah. I mean, Korea makes a lot of money also from K-pop. They make a lot of money through all of that and their cultural exports. Do you ever use Microsoft Windows 11? When I unfortunately have to. Samsung and phones. Well, yeah, that's Korea. It's also interesting is like how massive Samsung is of a corporation. Have you ever looked into the actual like Samsung company and the family with the Samsung and all that? Like, holy crap, we think we have an issue. I'm not a fan of K-pop. I'm not a fan of K-pop either. And also, I'm gonna have to be honest with y'all. The women that I've dated that are into K-pop, y'all scare me. Swifties and K-pop fans, just something about them, just... Oh, the Samsung? Oh, yeah, like, have you ever looked into the family behind Samsung? Like, there's a whole, like, interesting drama that goes on with, like, the most wealthy, elitist families. Yeah. Especially if she's into baby metal. Yeah. Oh, Korea is really interesting, though. There's, like, areas for the super wealthy in ways that I could have never imagined it. Like, they have areas that apparently can make Beverly Hills look poor. Like, oh my god. Gangnam Style. Lol, the Enron egg. I've been considering buying an Enron shirt. See, the problem is if you bought an Enron shirt, a lot of people aren't going to get that reference anymore. I actually had to explain to a Gen Z coworker the other day when I made a comment saying, nah, let's not go too big and Enron this shit. Something we're developing. He had no idea what it meant. And my coworkers and I had to explain, like, so there was this company in, like, the 90s and 2000s. Like, the biggest company to ever happen, basically. People were getting rich, and then I had to explain, like, no, so they, like, cooked up a way to count the profits for the next year towards the current reports, so that way they could actually get more profits and all that, and people lost their ass on this money and everything. And he, like, was so shocked that this actually really happened. He thought I was yanking his chain. Which, by the way, has become my favorite pastime, is telling Gen Z and Alpha about the unbelievable things that happened when we were growing up. Today, I also freaked out that same Gen Z worker when I explained to them, tell me how you would connect your TV when you have a VCR to your Nintendo 64 and you don't have the component hookup. You know, the red, white, and yellow cable? He was flabbergasted when I explained to him, like, there was this whole antenna connection. And you would run the RF, cord into this little three-way split to go into the Nintendo, then back into the VCR, flip it to channel 3 or channel 4, depending on what you're doing. And, like, you'd have this whole mess of cables and everything. That was composite. Either way. Yep, like the antenna. Did you tell about Y2K? Oh, yeah, we went through that. And that was the funniest one because we literally had the Gen X of the team come around and explain to him, like, no, this was a real thing. I was around during it. I just started my career and everything. And we had to, like, change a whole bunch of code and, you know, add digits and all of that stuff. Hell, my dad was in the Air Force and he told me about the things they had to do to make everything Y2K compliant. Like, the amount of shit they had to do in Fortran on these satellites and stuff like that. What are y'all talking about? Cultists? Well, Aaron, you're in Texas. When are you not drunk? I mean, you gotta kind of always be drunk all the time to deal with Texas. Yeah, I know a spoiler for a game about Y2K. Wait, what? CNS closing through on... Oh. Damn. End of an era. Who had Enron coming back with mini nuke eggs? Wait, what? These save states, taking the cash and retiring. Gonna be a network engineer and stack them racks. Yeah, it's a tough business. I don't know, man. I was in it. Tell us how to get into cybersecurity. Well, I got a video on YouTube that actually talks about that, which is, do you need college or boot camp to get into cybersecurity? I think that's what it's called. Make sure. Hold on. Do you really need college or boot camps to get into IT and cybersecurity? So that's about a 20-minute video. I made it September 30th. It was pretty recent. That'll go through a lot of that. Have you ever been hired by USA government? No, I kind of don't want to work for US government. There's a lot of reasons, especially when talking to a lot of my friends that have worked for the government, why I will never work for the government. They had a presentation about the Enron egg, the first portable mini nuclear reactor for home. Wait, what? Try to get into AI, want to use research papers, man. Here's the thing, I'll be honest with you when it comes to AI. It's a little overhyped right now. Okay, not a little. It is really overhyped. Everyone is fucking trying to inject AI into shit that don't matter. Right now, all these AI products are reminding me a lot of the dot-com boom. 90 to 95% of the shit you see right now talking about AI ain't gonna exist. And we gotta get on this right now. Like, first of all, the thing y'all are calling AI ain't even AI. Until it's got general artificial intelligence and can pass a Turing test, I don't want to fucking hear the word AI. Now, with that being said, large language models do have their place. Could you text me something? What did you send me? How the hell does Enron have a website? What the hell? An AI home nuclear reactor? The fuck is this shit? AI hype like what happened to crypto, isn't it? Kind of, sort of. A little bit different, though. Let me put it this way. AI has its place. Just like cryptocurrency has its place. The problem is with both of them right now is people are taking, you know that toy where you have like all the different shapes and everything? The problem right now with cryptocurrency and AI is the same exact fucking thing. Square pegs, round holes. It's not working. Like, let me put it this way. I can see what y'all call AI, large language models, being handy in a lot of industrial situations. I can see it being handy in an amazing amount of, object recognition situations when it comes to machine learning to make sure parts are installed properly. In industrial settings, lots of potential there. But do y'all see that they're literally throwing AI at every damn thing? Like, did y'all see the stupid announcement that Zuck had today? Mark Zuckerberg? No, it's not capable of self-thinking, and that's the issue. Mark Zuckerberg wants to have AI accounts on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook. We're already having an issue right now that people are complaining about bots on social media. We've all experienced this issue, no matter what the social media platform is. And instead of these dumbasses looking at the fact that we are ranting and raving how we hate bots, how that is why we didn't like a lot of what happened on Twitter, because there's just bots. That's most of the engagement. Zuck turns around and pulls this shit. Like, did you see this? Hold on. Pull it up through Mastodon because I can see his shit. Zuck. Mark Zuckerberg. Alright. Yeah, basically verified bots. So, this is what he's trying to propose. And this was made 13 hours ago. You can check this on Threads. None of this is made up. It's time to get back to our roots around free expression and giving people voice on our platforms. Here's what we're hoping we're going to do. Okay, that beginning statement sounds promising. Hold on to your socks, people. Replace fact checkers with community notes starting in the U.S. He's basically just turning Threads into X again, not realizing why we left. So basically, he wants to get rid of the fact checkers that were trying to stop a lot of the false news. Why do we get the crazy experimental shit? Because we have so many different damn protections around corporations that shouldn't exist. And I'm not one of those anti-corporate people in the sense like a lot of people are. You know, I'm in the sense of, no, there's a lot of dumbass protections that don't exist here that we should have. 2, simplify our content policies and remove restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are out of touch with mainstream discourse. I am not even joking. I have already been seeing a lot of slander and shit that shouldn't be allowed in public discourse now being allowed on Threads and stuff. 3, change how we enforce our policies to remove the vast majority of censorship mistakes by focusing our filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations and requiring higher confidence for our filters to take actions. 4, bring back civic content. We're getting feedback that people want to see this content again, so we'll phase it back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. So what he's just admitted is he has in fact been suppressing government-related news all this time. It's been one of those things where we've theorized about this for a long time, but this is one of the few times they've outright admitted what we used to be called conspiratorial about. Five, move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California and our U.S. content review to Texas. This will help remove the concern that biased employees are overly censoring content. No, it won't! No, the fuck it won't! I have worked in California. I have worked in Texas. You are not going to remove bias just by geographically moving your place. You're merely going to change the bias. But here is the fucking reality we learned in college. I learned this when I took a politics in the media class, of all things, ironically. There is no such thing as having a complete non-biased source. Get that notion out of your head. Everyone's going to have a little inherent bias one way or the other. Now, bias doesn't mean necessarily that it's false. Let's say this can right now, we're half full. That's a bias. I could also say it's half empty. That's also a bias. I'm biased to believing that it's empty, or I'm biased to believing that it's full. Which one is wrong? Because you could have a third answer, half a can. Are any of those three answers wrong? No. And that is the misconception a lot of people have with bias, is they think that just because someone is biased, that they aren't telling the truth. That what they are saying happens to be wrong. That's what bias is all about. Look at it this way, all right? Imagine if you were to have an accident there's an accident. You have three different people on three different corners of the street. All see this accident from different angles. One's biased from one angle, one's biased from another angle, another's biased from another angle, but they're not all going to see everything that happened. That's where I think a lot of people need to have that critical thought that bias in and of itself isn't a bad thing. If you can prove the bias led to misinformation, that's an issue. But if there's two girls in a half-empty cup, well then, you're gonna need just half as much therapy. They want to make conservative bias to be the norm. And here's the thing. Look, you want to have your bias to be whatever way, but this is a little bit too easy and open to say, yeah, he's bending the knee to Trump. He's giving money to the inauguration fund. He's removing the community fact-checking and everything, because we've all been on the Facebook, seeing what has been going on there for many years and how many people have spread misinformation and they've gotten checked and all of this stuff. So moving the trust and safety content moderation teams out of California and the U.S. content review to Texas isn't going to change anything. It's merely going to move the bias from one place to the other. And not only that, you're moving it to a place that has also used their government to go through people's private messages. Yeah. He's slowly pulling the Elon Musk move. He wants to make America dumber. Ain't that hard to do, trust me. You walked around and asked a bunch of people just basic things about the American situation. Let me put it Let me put it to you this way. Go up to the average person on the street, ask them to point out where America is on the map, and then also ask them to point out the current state that you are residing in on a map. I've done this. It will shock you how many people don't know about their own backyard. The recent election shows people want to change in our policies. What? Who are you talking about? Zuck? Musk? Trump? Oh, and here's the other thing when they talk about the election. I love how, like, these politicians like to make it seem like it was a mandate to endorse their agenda. What was the election overall? Wasn't it like something like just like 53, 54%? Like it was only a couple percentage points off. And when you consider the fact that, what was it, only 1/3 of Americans actually voted, how the hell do you get the audacity to think that there was an overall mandate to say that the country wanted to vote for, wanted Trump's ways entirely? You're already finding out a bunch of these schmucks are waking up and realizing that, you were too focused on the fact that you're like, well, Trump says he's going to make our groceries cheaper. And then what does he turn around and do after the election? Well, I don't know if I can do that. I can't promise that the stocks are, going to not have a dip. I can't promise that groceries are going to be cheaper. Texas restricts us. Y'all ain't even allowed to have the, how can I say this without getting canceled? The site that starts every video with boom, boom, boom. What is the best state? The best state is the state of denial. I reside in it in my entire life. Well, at least since I was in my teenage years. It's a lovely place. Yeah! No joke. I'll pull it up in a sec. We're gonna go through the Zuck thing. Number 6 was work with President Trump to push back against foreign governments going after American companies to censor more. The U.S. is the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world, and the best way to defend this trend of government overreach on censorship is with the support of the U.S. government. Y'all do know this motherfucker is the one that actually paid a lot of money to lobby to get TikTok banned all these years, right? You know who he's talking about, right? He's basically bending the knee to Trump to get him the propaganda center that he wants. Yeah, that's all it is. They're just trying to cozy up to Trump to make regulators less effective and less powerful. That's all it is. Just think about it. The National Highway Transit Safety Authority, the guys that test all the cars, they're looking at Tesla again. Tesla's in so many different lawsuits right now, he needs the government off his back. Not only that, ironically, Elon Musk is a welfare princess because SpaceX were his clientele. The government. Your opinions on NVIDIA's new 5000 series? I did say, I have a 3070 right now. I like my 3070. I have no reason to replace it other than I need a more powerful GPU for some LLM stuff, and then I want to get, what is the new codec? AVX. There's another codec. Not H.264, but NVENC can apparently do another one that does compression a little bit better. Anyway, AV1, that's it, thank you. I want to get a GPU with AV1 support, but I would probably need the 5050 equivalent for the streaming box, and then I'd probably want to get all the way up to a 5080, or if I had the money, a 5090 for my main desktop here, merely so I can have some more memory with doing machine learning and stuff like that. You're in cybersecurity, so you know the threat is real and imminent. No, I'm in a constant state of denial. I reject your reality and substitute my own. Because it's the only way that I can cope with this world. Well, that, and a copious amount of wine. Which, by the way, we haven't cracked a bottle yet. Sure, the TP-Link ban is because they refuse to cooperate with NSA, etc. Now, the TP-Link ban... Okay, TP-Link's been kind of a problem child for a while, let's be honest here. Now, here's the thing I will say about China. They have this law over there called PIPL, which is a Privacy Rights Act. Everything in the PIPL law with China makes complete sense to me. Is it PIPL? Or is it Pipeda? No, I think Pipeda is the Canadian one. PIPL is, I think, the Chinese one. Then you have a South African one. What? Now I gotta remember this. African privacy law. Sorry, I've just been trying to keep up with all the regulations around the world in terms of my job and stuff. POPIA. So POPIA, South Africa. Pipeda is Canadian. PIPL is Chinese. European Union is GDPR. Okay. The PIPL Act for China is similar to the GDPR. The US does not have any equivalencies there. Now, the one issue that they do have, and here's the thing, the US does the same thing, believe it or not. We'll get to that in a second. Is that the Chinese government requires that you disclose the information of vulnerabilities to the Chinese government. So the government can then use those vulnerabilities potentially or as alleged, things like that. Anyway, the US has done the same thing. And if you think that I'm wrong, Eternal Blue. Eternal Blue and that entire NSA toolkit that was leaked. Remember when FedEx got shut down and all of that? Those were NSA tools that got leaked. The reality is, and I hate being this kind of person, but whenever people look around at the United States, or look around and the U.S. is like, well, you know, these countries are doing to it, and we don't know why. I will pretty much be able to open up our history book and be like, U.S. did it first. We were doing it to other countries. They learned to do that from us. Yeah. With the privacy law, doesn't that mean government has to have their hand in the jar, aka vulnerabilities? With which privacy law? There's several different ones. And the Chinese one, I don't think it's a privacy law that it requires that disclosure of vulnerabilities. I think that's a separate act in China. I'm not a Chinese politician. I've just studied enough to know what I need to know for my job. Like, I in my MSP days, I remember having to deal with U.S. government contractors that I then couldn't sell Lenovo or other Chinese provider hardware because the government requires you to have a domestic provider. So we would ship Dell all the time as our secondary if we couldn't get you a Lenovo machine. What's your opinion on the Framework 16 laptop? I have actually not had a Framework laptop in my hands in a few years. I can't give too much of an opinion on there because I haven't spent too much time with them. I hear good things, but personally, my next computer is probably going to be a Tuxedo Computers laptop. The reason why is it was the only laptop that I found that had an AMD CPU, an NVIDIA GPU, and Linux out the box. Yes, I know there were some other potential options, but I really wanted an AMD CPU and an NVIDIA GPU. I needed the NVIDIA GPU for all the work that I do, because if I eventually start moving from KDE and Live for editing my videos over to DaVinci Resolve, I need an NVIDIA GPU. It's not a, oh, I want to, no, you need NVIDIA. Like, straight up, if you try to launch DaVinci Resolve on Linux without an NVIDIA GPU, it will just crash and tell you to install an NVIDIA GPU. When you said it, we did it first, isn't another way to say no one else can do it as good as us? I mean, I wouldn't say that, because a lot of the ways we've gone about things kind of half-assed. We live with ourselves because we can't fully see the outside world. Opinions on NixOS, I recently just made the switch to it. So far, so good. It's a thing. Some people like it. If I remember, their whole thing is what? They're an amnesiac containerized OS? What is a laptop, your favorite laptop you like that has good repairability? I'm a fan of System 76. I've had several of their laptops. They're great. I've been a fan of the Purism brand. And I think they've kind of gone downhill. They haven't released a new laptop in a few years. They're still selling 10th gen Intel CPUs. What is the worst laptop you despise? Acer. Acer and Asus. AMD is coming for NVIDIA. It's going to be a long attempt at doing that. And I think AMD also dropped out of the high-end GPU market. They've been running behind on the AI LLM stuff. What was it? They tried with the whole OpenCL thing, but people ended up using CUDA more. So, yeah, NVIDIA is just extremely far ahead. The only company I think that might potentially, as of present, stand a chance, and this would still take a few years, is Intel. But even then, Intel is a financial issue because they're close to being bought out. Any good routers for safety? Well, whenever you're routing your wood, make sure to keep your hands clear because that bit goes swirling around and you can lose a chunk of your skin. That was a woodworking power tool joke. Why AMD? Don't just copy NVIDIA tech. Because there's these things called intellectual property rights. You can't just go and copy another company's trade secrets or patents or IP. And yes, those three things are kind of different. Who's Intel being bought by? I think Qualcomm was looking at buying them up. Yeah, it's been a rumor. But the other thing that's being thrown around is Intel might get a bailout from the United States government, which makes sense, even though I don't agree with it. Let me make that clear. Said it makes sense. Because it is seen as a threat to national security to not have an American company produce their own chips. That's straightforward. Simple. No, I don't think NVIDIA bought ARM. I think that sale wasn't approved, if I recall. I could be wrong. Yep. NVIDIA and SoftBank Group announced termination of NVIDIA's acquisition of ARM Limited. Did they? I'd have to look into that. But I could have sworn that it didn't go through. But here's the thing you need to look at the end of the day. Forget ARM. ARM's pretty much old technology. If you're really that concerned with where things are going, you gotta pay attention to RISC-V. And if you've been on my content, you know that I've been talking about this for several years. All companies should just merge to make Ultimate GPU. No! That's how you get a monopoly! And then, you all get shitty GPUs. No, we don't want that. We don't want monopolies. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. An open source GPU. You can make an open source GPU. There's plenty out there. You could make one technically with this. But the reality is, everyone knows RISC-V is the future. I mean, look, you've got Google in here, NVIDIA, Qualcomm. Like, all the big companies you can imagine are getting involved in RISC-V. Like, go through and look at their members list to see all the names in here. AMD's in there. NVIDIA's in there. Qualcomm. Let's see. You've also got, of course, Huawei. And then I know Intel. We got IBM there. Intel. I thought Intel was in here somewhere. Maybe just the black theme. Could have sworn Intel was in here. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But yeah, you got Microsoft. You got a bunch of other companies all involved in this project here. This is what I think we'll be going into in the next 3 to 5 years. It's slowly picking up. Walmart can't produce their own shit. Walmart doesn't make most of their shit. Walmart at most goes through the white boxing. You need a new chip that combines CPU, GPU in one chip with a chip load balancer? No, you don't. I don't think you realize just how crazily inefficient that is. There's a reason why the CPU and GPU are separated into different components. And by the sound of it, you also probably didn't grow up back in the day of when we had a CPU, a 2D accelerator, a 3D accelerator, a sound card. And then, yeah, that's about it. For the cards and everything that you probably need. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A CPU is for sequential tasks, GPU for parallel. Like, if you actually paid attention to how much data a GPU crunches, it's insane. There's a reason why they're more coveted for password cracking, AI, number calculations. So you have a lot of different things called GPU, general purpose graphics processing unit. So you could actually use the GPU for a lot of different computational tasks. Not a name I've seen in a long time. NEC is an interesting company. Ooh, NEC. NEC. Yeah, Japanese multinational corporation. Nippon Denki. That's what they are. Nippon Electric Company. Here's what brands headphones you have. They look expensive. These are the Bayer Dynamic DT990s. They're not cheap, but I would not classify these as expensive either. And if you think when you look at the price of them, you're like, wow, they're like 150, 200 bucks. Those seem pretty expensive. Let me tell you, in terms of headphones, that's not expensive. I have no plans whatsoever in spending a few $1,000s on headphones, but there are ones out there. If you're so wise, why don't you make a GPU? That statement right there tells me you really don't understand how complex graphics cards are. There's a reason why these people that design GPUs are literally paid millions of dollars. That is a whole class of engineering I can't touch. You're not just talking about people that need to write device drivers, but firmware. Then you also have to have the hardware designers for it. I think, what is it? Intel, it took them over a decade with the resources they have to make a GPU. And then, that's not to mention, look at what Intel, with all the resources they had, look at their first batch of GPUs and how badly they performed. Why RISC-V is better than NVIDIA GPUs? Well, RISC-V is a completely open source instruction set architecture. It's not really a GPU per se, it's a CPU that's open source, but one could modify it to become a GPU, or make the ISA, if they want, to have an open source GPU based off a similar concept. Hardware controller. Most of those components are made in Taiwan anyway. That's also a big reason why the United States government has been investing billions of dollars to try to get domestic chip making capabilities up again. The United States has declined in a lot of their semiconductor manufacturing. If I recall, the state with most of the that does the most exports in semiconductor manufacturing is Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. That was what I was checking out a few years ago. That information might be different. Aren't a significant amount of Linux libraries built targeting RISC-V regardless of native hardware? So they're built in source code and then they're compiled for RISC-V's instruction set. So, you have a media server? I have a NAS, if that's what you mean. I haven't built my total home theater PC data box like I wanted to do a few years ago because, well, streaming became a thing. What NAS? I have a Synology RS422 Plus. It's the lowest end rack mountable Synology NAS. I eventually want to get a different NAS and then redo this NAS and then all of that, but so it'll be interesting. Now, what I'm really looking forward to is, so next month they're having discussions on potential raises and bonuses for work. I'm really hoping that I get a nice little raise as well as a bonus, because if I get a bonus similar to what I did last year, I'm buying a bunch of video equipment and we're going to be stepping up my YouTube game. Especially if TikTok happens to go away. I want to start doing more vlogs and stuff like that. I think it'd be nice to do, like, vlogs of the things I do around my town and all that stuff. Maybe I can actually give in... You know what I think? I was actually thinking about this earlier. If I can manage to get that equipment, I think it'd be fun to explain, because people don't understand. They look at me weird when I say, tank hijacking vlog. No. Why the Midwest is such a powerhouse for the tech industry. And I'd love to do a video on that. I'm actually, I think, an hour drive distance from AWS US East 2. And I could actually, work in, like, Micro Center, the military-industrial complex, and how it played a role. I think it'd be an interesting thing for me to work up to make a video on. But, of course, I would need to get a better video camera for me to do that with. I live in France. Do you really think TikTok could be banned? The law's already passed that Joe Biden said it's going to be banned on January 19th. It's not a matter of if, but when. The big if, though, is, will Trump keep his promise to protect TikTok? And I don't know about you, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. I got an ARC A380 for my unrated server to run Windows VMs. Interesting combination. Anyway, I gotta head off so I can get those damn exams done. Happy streaming. And good luck on your exam, buddy. Reg leg. I think it's really shocking, though, to get back to the point that, sobriety was, okay. How could he do that against the Supreme Court? Supreme Court's already ruled that, it's fine. How could he do that? Simple. Trump appointed 2 of the Supreme Court justices before he left, he finished his term out. The Supreme Court leans towards him because he picked them. So, yeah, they've already gone against the lower appellate court, and then I think there's another case for the Supreme Court to be heard on January 10th, but there's a big possibility they're just going to go see through with it as well, despite the ACLU, EFF, and others not being happy with this measure either. I hope TikTok will be banned only for downloading. So I don't think they're going to rip the app off the phones, per se. Now, I do see a potential case for them to rip the app off the phone in an iPhone, because Apple has more controls over that. However, I do all my recording on TikTok, on a Samsung phone, so... They already ruled how Trump could block. So, very simple. If you go back to the United States history with the Supreme Court, how many of y'all know about Andrew Jackson? How many of y'all know how much of a righteous asshole that motherfucker was? Andrew Jackson. You know, if you've held a $20 bill, you've seen his face. That Andrew Jackson. You know about all those displaced Native Americans? Yes, that Andrew Jackson. So what was it? The Supreme Court, Andrew Jackson. I want to make sure I get the year right about this. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, in Worcester v. Georgia. That was the case. Okay. By his own admission, the Indian Removal Act was the happy consummation of a policy pursued for nearly 30 years. Blah, 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 blah. Reading that. So this has to do with the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Skipping over this fluff over here. But the long and short of it is, 1832. The court ruled that Georgia's laws undermining Cherokee sovereignty were unconstitutional. But yeah, anyway, so anyway, what was the statement that Andrew Jackson made? The Supreme Court made their decision. Now let's see them enforce it. Which historically, if you understood, what are the three purposes of the branches of the United States government? Judicial, legislative, executive. What do they do? Legislative, they make the laws. Executive, they execute and enforce the laws. Judicial, well, they affirm the laws and see if they actually hold muster based upon prior precedent and everything like that. Well, if the executive government isn't going to enforce the will of the Supreme Court officially has no other recourse if the federal government's executive branch doesn't want to follow through on their duty. So even though in the past the Supreme Court went against the Indian Removal Act, Andrew Jackson went ahead and did it anyway. And here's the reality. You want to sit there and tell me Donald Trump is not willing nor capable to do the same thing? I'm not a fan of the guy, but it don't take a genius to see he's already won for running things the way he sees fit, and damned be whoever tells him otherwise. I just know about the cheese thing from the West Wing. Is Linux Mint that good? I'm not a fan of Linux Mint. There's a few issues that I had with them a few years ago with how they went about choosing different design choices and things like that. I'm more of a Pop! OS fan. That's me. I've been loving Pop! OS. It's got a lot more polish and think it goes great. Endeavor, haven't played with that one. But here's what I'm going to tell you. The same thing as I did in my Linux video about the 6 different types of Linux. There is no best Linux. It's what's best for you. So just pick them all out, stay with them, and see. As I said, Trump is probably going to get whacked by former supporters. That would not shock me. Because here's the thing. People are waking up even before January 20th. And here's what's interesting is the first 100 days of a presidency is usually the one that tells you the most about how successful or how much of a failure a presidency will be. He's already in for a rough 100 days. Tails OS is great, though. No, it's not. I don't know why everyone jumps to saying Tails is great. No, it's not. Most of y'all aren't even using Tails in the ways that it's intended, and even then, you're probably using it in a way that Unix is actually a better system. Unix is the better system if you're going to use Tor. Split it all up into 2 VMs. Force all that traffic over Tor in a much more hardened way than Tails does. Tails only makes sense if you're on the run like Edward Snowden using random computers. If you're using the same computer over and over, an amnesiac version of Unix is probably the better one. Especially if you can slap it into cubes. Qubes. I love that operating system. I need to make a video on it. Pop OS was not popping for me. Ubuntu say more slick. Pop OS is Ubuntu. It literally is Ubuntu. It's just a fork of it. So all Ubuntu packages and all that work in Pop OS. It's just got more what do you call it? Polish. No, Tails is easier out the box. That wasn't the argument. It's still a bad operating system the way most of y'all use it. If you're going to be using an operating system to be more private and regularly use it, you're going to want to use Unix. But even then, the honest truth is most of y'all are not getting any advantage either out of Unix or Tails with the way that you go about using it. Let me put it this way. The way most of y'all use Tails, Unix, and all that would lend you to be less private than if I were to do the same things on a regular browser with a more private mentality. If y'all don't know how to remain private without some specialized software by just using an understanding of where your data goes and what you're doing with it, none of those other tools are going to help you. Because the honest truth is most of cybersecurity is about mindset and mentality than it is about any specialized tool. As a person that's actually had to deal with journalists and educate them on Tor and had to actually help journalists get over the border from Russia and Ukraine when the conflict started, trust me, the majority of people that are like, just use Tails, just use Tails. No. Won't make a lick of difference for y'all. Because the reality is, most of y'all don't even know how, tiny scroll bar in Linux. I can't hover with set. That's not a Linux thing. That's a desktop environment thing. My scroll bar is as thick or wide as I want it. But in terms of, like, here's the reality. If you hand somebody a Tails, let me put it this way. The average person doesn't know how to boot off a flash drive. That's already strike one against Tails. I wouldn't even recommend Unix to the average person that wants to remain private. You want an average person to remain private? Here's what I would do. All right, here's a clean computer. Don't log into anything. Reject all cookies. And have a nice day. Just don't click on things. Don't go to websites you shouldn't be in. Don't log into things. That'll keep you private. And that guy said privacy is a mindset. It is. It absolutely is. I just call Ubuntu Debian. I like Debian, but that is not Ubuntu. Make a USB key and inside Tails, it's even easier. But you need to understand what you actually just said. You have to teach them technical things. And guess what you still have to end up doing? Teaching them to do my thing. You still have to teach them not to click on things. How privacy is a mindset. Not to log into things. But then, okay, so you give them the Tails flash drive. Now you got to teach them about per session. You got to limit what you're actually doing and all of that. Oh, now you have to learn to restart the session. Oh, now you have to go to the complicated section of keeping persistence to keep the things that they need to have stored and everything. There's a lot more complications to Tails than I think you're realizing than just telling the average person, hey, you want to remain private. Let me put it this way. Okay, in the United States, you have people talking about the whole abortion issue. In some places it's legal, in some places it's not. You do things your way and not teach them the privacy mindset, you've just wasted their time. No, you teach mindset first. The problem is with the way you're doing things, where you're like, oh, I'm going to just make them a USB key. They need to learn to do the thing. They need to learn how to do this. And the mindset includes understanding how to do their tools. Because here's the thing you're overlooking. If I want to remain private, why am I going to trust some other person to be handing me the hardware that I should know to use myself? You know the saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. That's what you have to learn. It's more important for them to actually learn the actual concept of privacy, what the behavior of privacy is, and all of that stuff, than it matters about what tool they use. Forget VPNs, forget Tor, forget all of this shit. Forget all of it. If you don't know how to go to a bar and have a discreet conversation with another person without your business being overheard, none of these tools are going to help you. Put it in that way. Being private is more than just the tools you use. It's about how you use the tools and how you understand the limits and everything. Hey, Chief, thank you for the content. I wish you more subscribers on YouTube. Appreciate you, Svet. Your upset can be as good as you make it. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. Because do you know how many people I've talked to? Okay, let me give you a perspective here. One of the things I've also done in the past, and I still do from time to time as people ask me to do this, is you have men and women that are in domestic violence situations. They are fleeing from abusive partners. Emotionally, physically, mentally, you name it, whatever, financially, whatever. They need to go in to a place, learn all this knowledge, leave that place with more knowledge than they came in with to know how to hide themselves. Why would you want to be private on a PC? Why would you want to be private, period? Okay, let me put it this way. Would you want a person overhearing a conversation you're having with an intimate partner about things that need to be done? Would you want someone to overhear a conversation you're having with your girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, mother, father? Doesn't even have to be anything that nasty. You want people to know about your medical records. There is no private conversation when I'm around. That's like when I fart. But the average person doesn't understand just how much they click away. But yeah, I think people really don't understand, at the end of the day, privacy, security, mostly come down to how you do that, to come down to a mindset of how you do things every day in a way to be more secure. You'd be surprised how much information the average person gives away just on their social media. You watch Pantheon yet? No, I haven't yet. I have not had the attention. T-shirt EFF. Yeah, I love my EFF t-shirt. I bought this one at DEF CON this past summer. Oh, yeah. So, I forgot to mention I went ADHD and everything. Bulgaria's deciding TikTok ban. Boo. Here's what's stupid. It's all pushed over by Facebook. We know it. I've accepted my loss that I may be losing my TikTok account. But it is what it is. I'll rebuild. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. They send you one when you're a donator. Well, I donate my money to the EFF in cash at B-Sides and or DEF CON. And when you donate in person at DEF CON, you get sticker packs and exclusive DEF CON shirts. Are you on YouTube? Yes, I am. Same username, ChiefGeek3D. That's where I originally found you, from the Parkinson bottle. Yeah, man, that video brought me so much of my community. And I'm gonna be honest, it's really unfortunate. Okay, I already follow you on YouTube. Well, I appreciate you, and I love y'all for it. Started my master's, and I'm already overwhelmed on day 2. Oof. Yeah, that can be some work. You got this, buddy. I haven't gotten a master's or anything like that, but I hear they're tough. You can do it! You got this! Are you on Blue Sky or Mastodon? I'm on both. I'm on Blue Sky and Mastodon. I've been on Blue Sky since they only had 50,000 users, and my Mastodon server is a little over 2 years. I run my own Mastodon server. Between that and job hunting, I'm stressed. Ooh, I can imagine! Are you on Threads and IG? I have a Threads account, but my Threads... I barely have 500 followers on there, even though I've been on there just as long as I have been on Blue Sky, and I have 5 times the following on Mastodon and Blue Sky than I do on Threads. So I cross-post 2 Threads, but I'm not really on it. Instagram, I have an Instagram, but it's privated right now. And I'm debating if I'm going to reactivate it, so... And a lot of that has to do with, I'm just not a fan of Meta and the way that they're going about doing things. And if they're going to be pushing a bunch of AI profile accounts for, you know, a bunch of AI bots to just be following people and all that, fuck that. I ain't doing that. I have 2 masters, psychology and education. An interesting combo. What made you get those degrees, if you mind me asking? I see a lot of people get psychology, but do y'all do anything with psychology degrees? Like, I know you can become a psychologist, but my understanding is, like, you got to do more than just get the psychology degree or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's different for every country or state, or I don't know. Look, I'm cyber. What's up, Seeknay? I post nothing online. I know nothing. I hear nothing. I see nothing. Do Pixel Fed support videos? I believe they do. I could check that on my Pixel Fed server sometime. Good evening, man. Good man. Hope you're doing well. Keep up the working vibe. Yep, appreciate it. Yeah, I've always wondered. I know a lot of people that get psychology degrees, and they use it as like a prereq to get one of the better, like, what is it? What do they call it? Like a postdoctorate or post degree, or, you know, like the thing you jump into. Like, a lot of people, fuck, words. A lot of people get, like, political science to get into law school, because you need a degree before you get into that. Is, like, psychology a stepping stone for something? Yes, post-secondary, that's the thing. Thank you. I was on Linux Facebook chat, and a random guy rolled in and said that he hacked us. Then here's what you do, all right? All right. You change your Facebook name to Hakeem, your mom. I've always wanted to do that to somebody, is just change my Facebook name to Hakeem, your mom. Oh, there's so many stupid things I've done. I said proof and he said floss. I'm doing my doctorate in psych and I'm a private practice. Nice. There must be good money in that. So I gotta ask you a question. You don't have to give any patient details or anything like that. Since you're in private practice, I'm gonna presume that you're practicing right now. Do you ever see patients that, you know, make you need to, like, take a break? Like, the second the door closes, goes, woo! I need a cigarette. Like, do you ever have those moments? Like, I'm curious if, like, y'all do that. Because, like, there are moments when I'm in my job that okay. Because I'm like, how does that go down? Do you just basically, like, hold your breath in and then just, like, wait until the door closes and then just, like, grab a pillow and scream into it? Like, what do you do? Or do you just, like, be like me and have a wine cooler underneath your chair and then be sneaking drinks whenever anybody thinks that you're just taking notes? Oh, yes. Tell me more about your mother. Like that. I'm sorry. I know I'm a little bit fucked for that, but it's just the intrusive thoughts that have been inside of my head. Because, like, I'm sitting there like, how do you sit there with a clipboard and just, like, not get tempted to be like, this motherfucker's crazy. This motherfucker is crazy. I hope he don't do it. That'll just be me. That's how I know I do not have the mentality for this. Do you agree medications, ADHD? What do you mean about that? I think you mistyped something, or there's a word missing or something to connect it. I don't know. Have you Zuckerberg stop in the fact check? Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier on in the stream. I drink while I'm on the job. Well, to that, my friend, if you're working right now, l'chaim. Are you on ADHD medications? No. I'm on diet and exercise, and so far that seems to be doing okay. Except right now. Right now! Tripping over my cord. Right now, these messages are brought to you all by caffeine. That powerful molecule that keeps you going. When life stops, keep caffeine to get you going. TikTok deletes questions about mental health. Oh, do they? Can I have some? Bro, I got a wine fridge down here. Pull up a glass. Here, we'll pour one out for my homies. I'm not actually gonna do that. My mixer's right there, but... Somebody comes on the stream. Why is there magic blue smoke all over the screen? Chief just fried his mixer. Too depressed to start exercising. It's a process. So here's what you do. All right? All right. You let your dog run loose and then you just chase them around. That's cardio right there. Bonus points if you get a chicken. You get your dog to run the chicken. Wait, no. You get a chicken. You get a cat to chase the chicken. But then wait. You want a dog to chase the cat to chase the chicken. Now what you're going to do, you're going to chase after all three. When you get so tired about that, then you bribe the 5-year-old neighbor kid with a candy bar to go grab those chickens for you, because you are realizing you are too old and your knees are fucked. Drink from the bottle. Bro, several people have told me to do that. Like, have you seen that wine attachment? Have that? I live in a flat in Paris. No can do. Yeah, I've been to Paris. That might offend some people, but Paris ain't it. I am not a fan of Paris. Marseille. Nice. Strasbourg. I love those places in France. Paris? Yeah. If I ever go to Paris, it's because I'm in and out. I'm seeing 2 things and I'm out. I didn't even spend that much time in Paris. I just kind of was like in, got off the train, and I'm like, ugh, got back in. Not even a joke, because I was actually traveling. But yeah, my dad, he's French-Moroccan. He lived in France for several years. He doesn't even like France. You know the best part of Paris, the revolution part, northeast? Ah. Didn't y'all have, what was it? No. But I'll tell you where I do want to go in France again, if, well, not again, but I'd like to go for the first time, because I haven't been there. I'd love to go to the Basque Country in France. Because the Basque Country over in France, man, y'all apparently have some of the best food. I live in the best part of UK, Bradford. Is there any good part of the UK? I say this because my ex is British, and any country that she lives in probably isn't that great. Nah, I'm kidding. UK's alright. No, my aunt is dead. I am so fucked in terms of my humor. Chatham, Kent, best place, amazing buildings. There's a village in France with my last name. Village of Gamache? Did I say that right? Yeah, but I do want to go back to Portugal in a few months or so. I fell in love with Portugal. I know my family has roots from there, tracing back to the Spanish Inquisition, so there's a route for my citizenship and all that. I'm from the UK, and this is only a downward slide. UK is the most depressing country in the world. See, the issue that annoys me with the UK is y'all voted to leave the EU, which really effed up a lot of my travel plans for whenever I want to possibly visit the UK, and I happen to be in Europe. Because it's not just as, like, it's not part of the Schengen zone anymore, so it's not like I can just come in. Also, another thing is when I travel, I tell people I'm Canadian. I don't want people thinking I'm American when I travel. I see the way y'all look at me. Hell, did I ever tell you about the time Yitz and I were traveling, and he has this happen to him every time he's in Europe? Because remember, Yitz is a black man, okay? The police always feel so sorry for him because he's always freaking out whenever it's a cop. Because y'all know the issue that American cops have often with black people. And like every time the man is at an interaction with police, the police always start apologizing to him. No, we're not American cop. It's always interesting. Go to Coimbra in Portugal. It's spectacular. Yeah, last time I was in Portugal, I was there for Web Summit and to visit some of the Jewish sites and history there, so I didn't have too much time to go and actually enjoy the country. Next time, I definitely want to enjoy more of the country proper. I know Yitz is going to be there in a few weeks or so. He's got some business stuff to do out there. UK people are so gullible. The government make false promises and make everyone start getting excited. Bro, that ain't just the UK. That's everywhere. No country is immune to that. You get a charismatic, enthusiastic leader in any country, I can show you a dumbass population that can be swindled and swayed. Best place in the UK is Connacht, only because of a pub there called the Stumble Inn. The Stumble Inn. There's a lot of great places in Portugal anyways. Yeah. Well, I know, like, one thing I definitely wanted to check out was, Porto and, you know, all the other, cities there. There is a possibility I could possibly transfer my job. A Tinder swindler thing. What do you mean by a Tinder swindler? Is that anything like the Houdini in the bedroom? Y'all know what that is? Example, do any of you guys, the lockdown in UK started buying toilet paper? Bro, the entire world was doing that. The US was out of toilet paper for several months. I remember that because I had to run around to many different stores for a lot of the elderly people to find toilet paper for them. I remember the week that I went to go get more toilet paper for myself. Not to be crazy or anything, just went to Costco. I was down to my last 6 rolls, get my case of toilet paper like I always do every couple of months or so. Everyone was going crazy for toilet paper. It was an international thing. It wasn't just a UK thing. I don't know why we all went for toilet paper, but it was not just a UK thing. It was in the US. It was all over the EU. It was all over Australia. I don't know why toilet paper was the one thing everyone gravitated to. I'll show you some nice places. 3:15, I might sleep now. Have a good night. And merci for sticking around on the stream. Je suis très désolé. Je parle un petit peu en français. I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. I recommend Intermarché, Intermarché shop. They got a gazpacho soup. That might be nice. Be rich and borrowed money than skedaddle. Oh, like the dude that actually, like, tried to sell the Eiffel Tower? Or am I thinking of another dude? Because I know that scams happened several times. You know, like, people would sell a bridge and, you know, a country or something like that. Have you got any upcoming projects? Kind of, sort of. So there are a few things I want to work on. So one, I do want to work on a coding project that I haven't gotten into. Because of the current project I'm working on, okay? So, here, I'll turn the light on so you can see the background a little bit, so you can see what I'm working on. Alright, so y'all can see the mess that's behind here, right? I'm in the middle of cleaning out my whole workspace here. So I'm cleaning the entire workspace out. I actually managed to get through dusting off 3/5 of all the shelves, pulling out filaments and everything there, just to clean it and organize it a little bit better. My tools were all over the house, and I couldn't do a lot of my I couldn't do any of my other projects because I keep doing a thing where it's like, where's this, where's that, where's that? So I finally got to a breaking point where I had to clean my whole house. So currently what I'm working on right now, and I'll try to get some pictures for y'all in the Discord. I might put them on Blue Sky and Mastodon, we'll see. So earlier this week, I cleaned out a big chunk of the living room. So I'll level with y'all. I've been going through some mental things. Been in therapy for a few weeks. Actually, several months now. Working on processing some things, and I just realized I was a little bit depressed for a while, and I just kind of let things build up. that my living room was filled with like Amazon boxes and stuff like that, and it was just a mess. Not like we're not talking like there was like molding food or anything like that. It was just disorganized. It was messy. The dogs barely could, get to their bed and stuff like that. So I spent a good day going through and scrubbing down the kitchen. Got a bunch of the stuff there, like, so my kitchen drawer, just so you have an understanding, it's been broken since I bought this house many years ago. And what I had to do, because there's a lot of things the previous owner that had this house did that didn't make sense, and I had to completely redo so many different things. Like, I literally pulled extension cords out of this wall too many times. That, was it 4, 5? No, I think it was closer to 6 or 7 years ago. I literally ripped holes through all the wall just to randomly find all the extension cord and properly rewire the house. Like, no joke, my bathroom upstairs, which I still have to remodel and all that, had a fluorescent ballast that just had the exposed 12-gauge wire, 14-gauge wire nutted, exposed right next to the shower head. So one of the first things I did when I moved in here, took down that fluorescent ballast that they had with fluorescent bulbs in the bathroom and got a proper fixture and nutted everything behind drywall. So anyway, the kitchen drawer was broken to the point, like, if I didn't brace my knee underneath the drawer when I opened up to get forks and stuff, it'd fall straight to the ground. So I completely redid the entire rail. I had to take the old rail out, because all they did was they just took the bottom section to let the drawer lay on it, but they never leveled the drawer to allow the actual rolling part of the rail to go with it. So there was no support for it. So I completely took the drawer out, got some wood, glued it together with some liquid nail, got it leveled to where I need, sanded it off just enough, got the drawer fixed. Oh yeah, and TikTok you only see 1 year. That's why you get on the better platforms, because I just move out around all the time. And the camera sometimes decides to move itself. So yeah, I got the kitchen cleaned out, and then I'm going through a lot of the stuff there. The living room, it's pretty much all clean. Like, right now, the only stuff in there is on the living room table and the dining table as well. Just random stuff I gotta go through, little odds and end knickknacks things. So I cleaned that out so the living room's pretty much clear for the dogs to finally walk around, and I can walk around. The upstairs bedroom, my bedroom, all cleaned out completely. Like, I had pieces of paper and stuff all over on the floor. Like, again, not messy or anything like that. Just, it was messy, but it wasn't, like, filthy. And, yeah, the projects never end. But I also had carpet in that room, and it smelled like dog. Because I have 2 dogs, and obviously they've been in that room for a while. But I also didn't clean the carpet since Barack was a puppy. And he's about a year old now. So I completely cleaned up all the carpet. Like, to give you an idea just how much random shit was on the floor, I still had the boxes for the random Noctua parts and the pieces for this case over here, the accessory pack, in a crate at the top of my stairs. So I put that away in the crawl space, cleaned the carpets, vacuumed, and then just vacuumed the entire carpet. So now I can actually see my floor. So I've just been working on cleaning the house up and everything. That's my current project right now. What I'm probably going to do is take a couple days off next week. I got to clear it with my manager. And then work a little bit more, because I stopped mid-cleaning here when I got the news that one of my relatives had passed away and I had to go to the funeral, which is why this basement workspace isn't done yet. And I'm going to go through the shelves here. Like, I found a bunch of my old Linux magazines. Probably older than y'all. And, yeah, so I'm in the middle of cleaning and organizing everything so I can better focus on the projects that I want to move forward on doing, which is adding Blue Sky support into my Twitch poster for Mastodon. I want to, there's so many different things I want to do. I want to work on a lot of different content as well for YouTube. A lot of it Linuxy and cybersecurity focused, and recreating a lot of the content that I made on TikTok. It's basically right now my biggest project is me, getting me back into the place that I need to be able to better enjoy my life. Get back into the healthy position that I want to be in, getting back into working out, and getting back into where I can have that enthusiasm and passion to do the projects that I used to do all the time on here. Because I'll be honest with y'all, I still haven't gotten to fixing my 3D printers in 6, 7, 8 months. One's got a clog. I gotta unclog it. Still haven't gotten around to that. The other one, I just gotta redo the belts and tighten it up and do the regular maintenance. Same with the other one too. I just haven't had the enthusiasm to get to there, so I'm currently, with my projects, working on myself to get to where I want to be so that I can get back to the enthusiasm to do my projects, if that helps explain things. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. You have Second Amendment protections. The second protects the first. If you know, you know. You have a cabinet. Yeah, I have plenty of cabinets. Got a house recently and the projects never end. Yeah, they will never end. I was on my old PC remembering the days of Dark Yahoo. Dark Yahoo. I'm tilted. TikTok says sensitive and deletes messages. Norton, at least you guys got your properties. I'm still living on rent. Yeah. I'm thankful. You know what's fucked though about owning my house is knowing that I'm as privileged as I am to own the property that I do, because I could not afford my house today. That's how fucked property values are, by the way. Go talk to a lot of homeowners now that own their house, and they will tell you they couldn't afford their own house right now. I'm blessed that I was in this situation. What have you printed you would never tell anyone? Oh, there's been a few things I printed that I will never talk about on TikTok. It's kind of funny, because sometimes Twitch people will be like, wait, you actually printed that? Flared base. I remember when you had to deal with your father. Yeah, thankfully I don't deal with my father, and I only dealt with my mother this past weekend. In a very short example. You might have old razor blades in the wall. Oh no, I don't have that. I cleared that out already. I know about that whole thing. Where, yeah, there used to be a slot and people would drop them back. Yeah. I've done a cyber boot camp for 6 months and doing gigs, but it's pretty hard to get an entry. No, I still remember the excitement first time trying 56 kilobit per second speed. Oh, we got a hot rod over here, 56K, thinking he's way better than us because we're over here with 14.4 with our like 14,000 baud. Ooh. Big man on campus over here. Ooh. It was basically saying 5 years of work experience. I can't remember. So cybersecurity. Okay, so the long and short of it, I have a video for you on YouTube that'll help you out. So it literally goes into, do you really need college or boot camps to get into IT and cybersecurity? Hey, Bopper. Hey, Bopper. I got both boy. I got both. I got dog. I got dog. Give me a kiss. What do you do in your free time? Well, among many things, this. But yeah, so there's a video on YouTube that you can watch called "Do You Really Need College or Boot Camps to Get into IT and Cybersecurity?" There's a lot more that go into it, like certs, things like that. But the long and short of it is, even though you definitely should think of cybersecurity as its own field and career, the reality is it's still often dependent upon IT experience. Most companies want to see at least 2 to 3 years of field experience in IT before trusting you in cybersecurity positions. It's not impossible to get a job without prior IT experience or anything. I'm just saying it's improbable. It's not impossible, just very tough. So keep that in mind. Certs can help, but experience is what trumps everything. So focus on getting into IT, doing the IT job. Yes, and as I talk about in the video, you're going to embrace the suck for a while of 2 to 3 years. Keep your head on a swivel, learn all you can from your peers, level up your skills, tinker, home lab, all of that, and build up to it. It takes time. And I will be honest and say cybersecurity is not for everybody. Just in the same way that, like being a doctor's not for everybody, or being a police officer's not for everybody, or that. But I think it's a very rewarding career for myself. But it does take persistence. And it's also going to take about anywhere from 2 to 10 hours a week of your life extra to devote to continuing your education of IT and cybersecurity. Because this field never stops changing and growing and doing all that. Lenovo's rollable laptop is a concept no more, launching this year for $3,500. Lenovo's rollable laptop. The hell? A rollable laptop? This still looks like a toy. I just can't get by this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That aspect ratio is effed. But also, ooh, I don't know if I like how the screen expands, and I got serious longevity questions around how well that's going to last. Oh, speaking of CES, one thing I'm hoping to do this year is I want to go to DEF CON, especially if I get the improved, video recording equipment and everything like that. But if I can manage to make enough income from content creation this year, I also would like to put down as a goal of me going to CES. I haven't been to CES since 2016. I was a member of press in the past, before I was even on TikTok. I got my connections. But I would love to go to CES, because the problem is CES is the Consumer Electronics Show. This is the largest tech show in the world, with, last I checked, about 35,000 people coming to Las Vegas. It's roughly the size of DEF CON, but just consumer electronics. So, like, this laptop here was demoed at CES. That's where NVIDIA made their recent announcements, AMD, all of that. I would love to go to CES to make connections with a lot of these vendors, and also give my honest reviews and remarks on a lot of the technology that I see without the bullshit hype. Because here's the reality. A lot of these consumer electronics that I see people talk about, and they're like, oh my god, this device is so hyped and everything. I come at things from the perspective of a consumer of the device, the person that has had to deploy devices for customers. I've had to deal with stakeholders in businesses. I know how businesses operate in terms of workflow. I know how medical spaces work in terms of workflow. I know cybersecurity. I know compliancy with a lot of different things. I think there's a lot I can bring to the table if I were to record Consumer Electronics Show content for all of you that I think would be a refreshing approach to a lot of the CES and other tech content being reviewed from other people. Because let me put it this way, for example. I'm sure Linus Sebastian and Marquez Brownlee are nice people. But you can easily see sometimes when you get into tech, very deep into it, their eyes start to glaze over. And they're coming at it more from the prosumer side of things. But neither one of these individuals, from what I've seen and witnessed and experienced, has ever actually been in a proper business decision other than their own unique businesses, which they are exceptions to the rule. Like, let me put it this way. Most of these people have never had to deal with the average mom and pop shop or a dental or medical office or clinic and how this has to be done or how things have to be, operated inside of a business or understand what is a reasonable price for a business hardware, things like that. I think it'd be interesting to give a different approach on a lot of these different technologies. In the same way that I think I've been able to break down the door for a lot of people going to DEF CON, because I've had a lot of people that are thankful, and I've met them at DEF CON too, that have thanked me for dispelling a lot of the myths and getting them to actually break down the barriers and go down into DEF CON and understand that there is a lot of myths and fallacies around DEF CON, and, people are overly scared to go to DEF CON. I think it'd also be interesting to go to CES and look at some of these consumer electronics and talk it at a deeper level in tech the way that a lot of people would have. I think it'd be interesting if I could somehow manage to do a live stream on Twitch at some point at the Consumer Electronics Show. I doubt I'd be able to do that with the bandwidth requirements for that kind of thing. But where I could actually get your own questions of what you want me to ask at different things. Or imagine even if I go to Discord and I just say, hey, I'm at this booth right now. They're covering this technology. What do you want me to ask them in the next 5 minutes? But, yeah, I love the Samsung Smart Home. Speaking of Smart Home, did y'all ever see that Disney movie back in the day, Smart House? Isn't it kind of scary how that movie's becoming a reality? It scared me. Graphene OS style distro for my PC. Any thoughts? You're looking more at something like Cubes OS, which I love. I rock Cubes OS daily on my laptop. But I will be honest and say Cubes OS is not for the faint of heart. If you are not comfortable and familiar with Linux, it's going to be an uphill battle. It is what I would consider an intermediate to advanced Linux, because everything inside of Cubes OS is a virtual machine. And what I mean by that is, come with me and you'll see, in a world of pure inebriation, you'll be tanked like the whole Irish nation. I was off key there. Okay, but anyway. FA Cybersecurity Conference. Ooh. Where's it at, though? Curious, is that just online? Okay, but anyway. So when I say Cubes OS is all in a virtual machine, this is basically a chart of more or less an example of how it works. So it's all based on the Zen hypervisor project here. So the Type 2 hypervisor, similar to KVM, QEMU, and Microsoft Hyper-V. So it runs really low level on the hardware. So you have an administration VM, a virtual machine just to handle system management. You have another virtual machine just for the GUI. You have another virtual machine for your applications and the templates. And the apps work based off the templates, so you update the templates and the updates trickle down. Your USB is in another virtual machine. Your networking, other virtual machine, which the networking VM connects to the firewall virtual machine. And then you want to do Tor connections, you use the Unix virtual machine, which has a workstation and a desktop virtual machine. You can also have disposable virtual machines. You can have Vault virtual machines. And some of these VMs don't even have to have internet access. So, CubesOS, definitely the operating system I would be recommending. I haven't made any YouTube content on this yet. I've made TikTok content on this. There should be a playlist called The Reasonably Secure Laptop. But the honest truth is, I'm going to be doing a proper video of this in the next few weeks once I sit down and have some time, because this is something a lot of people have been asking for. In UK, content creation is hard. I hear that. I got a few content creation friends in the UK, but also, like, with content creation, the issue is the space constraints. You don't really have a lot of space to have a workspace. Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. It's the first time I get an answer from someone I follow. Best wishes. Well, happy hacking, buddy. And, I know TikTok might be going the way of the dodo. So, feel free to join the Discord if you haven't already. And, we'll be more than glad to walk you through a lot of things, as well as, make sure to follow me on Mastodon, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Twitch, in case TikTok does ultimately go the way of Old Yeller. But yeah, you'll like Cubes. Take some time with it. Don't be afraid if you break it. You will need a dedicated computer for it. This is not a operating system that you can just throw in a virtual machine. It is the hypervisor. So it's designed to be on its own bare metal hardware. You don't need anything crazy. You will need at least a Core i5 or a Ryzen 5. You will need at least 16 gigabytes of memory. These are minimum recommendations, by the way. This isn't like, oh, these are what I recommend. This is the minimum. My CubesOS laptop runs a Core i7 10th Gen, 10710U, and 64 gigs of RAM. Now, in terms of SSD space, you ain't going to need that much. 256 or half a terabyte, more than enough. SSD will be absolutely essential because of the read writes that are going to go on with it. That's about all I would recommend for that. Don't worry about GPUs or anything like that. Internally integrated GPUs are the better choice when it comes to CubesOS. You're not really going to use GPU pass-through and all that stuff. There's security reasons why we move away from proprietary graphics cards. It's one of those things where you want to... It's different threat models, and dedicated graphics cards aren't part of a secure system. There's arguments for and against it in terms of cryptography and stuff like that, but here we go. There you go. Yeah, you'll be fine. But yeah, Core i5, 16 gigs of RAM should be enough for you to get rolling with most things. Because remember, everything is a virtual machine. So you will be eating those resources pretty damn fast. Wake up, bumpers. Rock. But yeah, you'll like Cubes. But I will tell you, once you start using Cubes, you're going to see Graphene OS is weak compared to Cubes. And I'm not saying by any means Graphene is bad. I'm just saying you're gonna realize just how much more capability you have. So, for example, do I have... Let me see if I still have my, no, I don't have it. But anyway, so like when you can do things with Cubes OS, like when I make a VPN inside of Cubes OS, you can go to Molvad. Molvad.net actually has instructions to make a VPN inside of Cubes, both in two ways. They have a way to do OpenVPN and a way to do WireGuard. I haven't really played with the WireGuard way yet, but they have instructions for it. Anyway, when you create your VPN, the way you do it in Cubes OS is you create another virtual machine just to do the VPN. And then what you do is you attach the networking from that VM you created for the VPN as the networking source, and you can actually have multiple VPNs running on your same hardware, so you can have multiple routes going to different VPNs at the same time. So if you want this app to look like it's coming from Sweden, while this app's going all the way to Hong Kong, and this app's going all the way to Virginia, you can do that. There's so much more possibility you have with Cubes OS than you did with Graphene. And I love Graphene, too, don't get me wrong. Although I will have words about the moderation and community inside of Graphene being an issue, but that's an issue that a few creators in the Linux space, including Louis Rossmann and a few others, have also made mention of. But enough of a tangent there. When I upgrade my internet, I could run so many things. In the end of the month, sadly, I will fix my Pixel and install Graphene Prob. It's only used privacy stuff was with Kali, now on Debian. I mean, Debian's alright. You'll like Cubes OS. Cubes OS, you can run all your VMs on there, so you can have it based on either Fedora or Debian. You pick your poison, whatever you like. I'm more of a Debian guy myself. The one thing you're going to learn about Kali as you get more into tech and cybersecurity, Kali's better to run in a virtual machine. If you want to have a dedicated device for ethical hacking and tinkering and all that on the bare metal, Parrot OS is the operating system I recommend every single time for that. I like it better than Kali. It's designed better to be a daily driver than Kali. Kali was never really designed to be a daily driver. They just slapped that feature in after a while because enough people kept installing it and not reading the damn instructions. So keep that in mind. A lot of the issues that I have to... supposed to be on a Tails, yeah. And most people don't even read the instructions on Tails. Here's the one thing that blows my mind whenever I talk about Tails, okay? A lot of the people that argue with me about Tails and how it's not the best solution, you know what they've never done? Do y'all know the four-letter acronym RTFM? Or read the frickin' manual? That is one thing that everyone should do is before you get into a project and just, go balls deep into it, read the documentation, understand the basic concepts and what the purpose is of the project that they're trying to go and accomplish. So, what does it say right here? If you go to the documentation, Tails is safe, but not magic. They have a whole section here. Most of the people that talk about using Tails have never read this section. So, you can even read right here, okay, protecting your identity when using Tails. Tails is designed to hide your identity, but some of your activities could reveal your identity. Sharing files with metadata, such as a date, time, location, and device information. Using Tails for more than one purpose at a time. How many of you fire up Tails and then do more than one thing? Immediately. Breaking the documentation. And this is why I tell people, Unix is the better choice. And I'll show you why in a second. Do I still have mine installed? Yeah, I got mine. Okay. So imagine it. We'll go through that in a second. Okay. Limitations of the Tor network. Tails uses the Tor network because it is the strongest and most popular network to protect from surveillance and censorship. But Tor has limitations if you're concerned about hiding that you are using Tor in Tails. Protecting your online communications from determined, skilled attackers. I got an interview for IT Tech. Any recommendations for a interview? What's the specific role? Can I run Tales from a cache drive? Apparently there's cloud-based ransomware now. When you say cloud-based ransomware, do you mean it's like just a basic command and control server that's out in the cloud or something like that? Or are you talking like, because, I mean, it's kind of been cloud ransomware software for a while. There's even ransomware as a service. You can literally go out there on the darknet, pay someone to get the software to run the ransomware network for you if you want. Virus Underground. Let's see. Let's go to Mastodon and see what they said, because I am not going on Twitter. VX Underground. Is this the one? That's an old account. Yeah, they're on Blue Sky. Let's see. VX Underground automated mirror. Okay, so they do have an automated mirror here. Yesterday, someone informed us the existence of the new TTP of AWS S3 extortion. More specifically, threat actors are using the AWS key management service to encrypt company AWS buckets or any cloud provider. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I've kind of always, like, I think we were talking about this at work when we were drinking. Why are you not going to Twitter? Because Twitter fucking sucks. My community on my Mastodon and my Blue Sky have gotten way more engagement, and I have twice the following. Yeah, here. Hold up. Here, I'll show you this. I still have my Twitter account. I just don't want to log into it. I think I am logged into it, though, because I did have to pull something up the other day. Yeah, I am. But let me show you this, alright? I have not posted on this account in over a year. When I left, I had something like 1,250, give or take, followers. 1,250. So many people have been leaving Twitter. I'm actually losing followers and everything like that. Not only that, the engagement is extremely low when it comes to other platforms. Now, in comparison, I've got twice the following on Mastodon. And twice the following on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is now more popular than my Mastodon. But on top of this, look at this engagement. Look how crazy my engagement is. Like, all of this is just one day on Blue Sky. All of this is just one day on Mastodon. You ever seen that kind of engagement on Twitter? See you later, Captain. Yeah, my links still work. All my links are on links.chiefgeek3d.com. You do need to be logged in. No, there's a lot of things when it comes to Twitter you still need to be logged in to access. Don't you remember? This was all over the news. This has been over a year. Thank you, David. Happy hacking. This is 2 years ago, give or take. Twitter now requires users to sign in to view tweets. This broke a shit ton of websites. Yeah, and Twitter in terms of like, oh, if you're just a person that's reading, this is why I love Blue Sky, okay? This is something I never had on any other platform. Okay, so let's just see what my followers are doing. Cool. Let's go discover some new posts. Okay. Par for the course. Now let's see what's popular with my friends. Okay. Wait, what happened? I'm confused. But anyway. Okay, now let's say I just want to go with just posts that are related to science. I can have feeds for anything I want. Gardening. But I can also pin these any way I want. These are all feeds I picked. Oh, let's just get the quiet posters. These are the people that barely post, so now I can see the people that aren't posting that much. And these are feeds that people create. Want to get my Linux news. Oh, so I only want to get the news that was posted within the last 30 minutes. I only want to see things from mutuals. I only want to see news. Maybe just world news. Or we can go the people that work with Microsoft security and identity. Or maybe I just want to see the journalists. But not only that, we can have custom labelers. And why is that important? So I have a labeler that I've subscribed to that tells me whatever congressperson or senator, who their top 3 industries that donate to them are, their top 3 PACs. So you can kind of get a better idea of what position they're coming from when they speak on different things. So while I'm scrolling through, I can just be like, okay, no, Katie Porter saying that. You get most of your money from education and all that. Okay, you can just go through. This allows for better transparency. And the cool thing about these labelers is anyone can make them and have them run in their own AI and then customize them however they want. Here's another thing that this has that Twitter never had. If we go to moderation, of course, we can enable, disable if we want the adult content, all of that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Not a big deal. This is the one thing Threads and Twitter should have always had that would have fixed a lot of issues. Not all these with security concerns and hiding unsafe links and impersonation, or the misinformation, or the scams, or that. This right here, the engagement farming moderation. That moderation is a huge reason why I like Blue Sky better than I do Twitter. Even though Blue Sky is right now smaller than Twitter. It's, yeah. Can I run Tails from a cache drive? You can run it from a USB drive, yeah. What do you think of the 5090? It's a thing. I want one. Probably not going to afford one. Probably can't justify one, but I'll probably get a 5070 or a 5080. After I then justify the power supply that I need to add and everything. Yeah, it's expensive. But I'm probably one of the few people that's going to use it other than just playing stupid games on it. I would love to have a more powerful GPU for machine learning. And a few of my rendering tasks that go on in video and everything. My 3070 is still plenty fine. But I definitely want to get into AV1 encoding with streaming. Until marketers realize how good Blue Sky is and ruins another platform. So that's the thing. The moderation on Blue Sky is pretty powerful that we can actually moderate the hell out of it any way we want. You have so much power to moderate the platform in any way, shape, or form that you want that we've never been given this power before. Am I a coder? Not really. I'm more of a cybersecurity engineer. I do coding from time to time, mostly in Python and Bash. I have a few GitHub projects, nothing major that I've done. I do want to add some Python code to my Python script that posts when I'm live on Twitch to Mastodon, so I can also have it work on Blue Sky. But yeah, I know Terraform. I know Terraform too. Although I'm switching more to OpenTofu for that because Terraform is changing some licensing requirements, and OpenTofu is completely open source, and it's fine for the stuff that I need to do for Terraform, but yeah. Got an interview for entry-level IT tech. Any recommendations before you interview? Well, when you say entry-level tech, what are you talking, like a help desk kind of thing? Any recommendations before you interview? Look up the company that you're working for. Find out what they're about. Find out how they got started. Do a little bit of OSINT on them. Learn about the C-suite, everything like that. Get interested in the company. Companies don't just want to hire you because you bring skills to a table. They want to see that you're a cultural fit and that you're interested in the company and that you're invested in wanting to stay. If you just come in and don't know anything about the company, that's a disadvantage. Study the company. Learn about them. How do they get started? How did they, who currently runs it? Do they do any charitable things? You know, like, learn about the company. But also, learn about the technologies that they happen to use. That might be a question you're going to need to ask while you're working the interview. Ever explored using blockchain as a backbone for event-driven automation? God, no! That would be a horrible solution. Blockchain is not an expeditious technology. It's not very expedient when you need to do data processing. Because have you ever tried to send cryptocurrency? Have you ever tried to send, like, even Ethereum or Bitcoin and seen how long that delay is? That's how long it takes to write data into the blockchain and get it verified and confirmed. So, blockchain isn't good for automation storing data like that. A typical SQL database or NoSQL, depending on what you're wanting to do, is probably going to be a lot better of a database for events to be logged and all that than a blockchain will be. I still wouldn't use a blockchain because here's the issue. Your source of truth is the ultimate issue with blockchain is it's very computationally expensive and resource-wise. Okay, so let's say, plus in terms of privacy, you use a public blockchain. Your data is now publicly available on the blockchain for anyone to view. If they crack that data, all of that, there goes that issue out the window. The other issue is, okay, so let's say you want to go from a public blockchain to a private blockchain. Great. Now you're still going to have to build the blockchain, the private blockchain, make backups of that across different regions to make sure there's redundancy and everything. And again, it's still computationally expensive as to compare to SQL or NoSQL. There's nothing that a traditional database can't do as well as blockchain, with very few exceptions. Blockchain, it makes more sense in things that the data... Yeah, but see, if you're using it as a source of truth, then you still need to have other things to verify against, and then that becomes into a weird issue of how trustworthy is said data. There's just a whole lot of architectural design decisions and everything that have to go into it that overcomplicate things. Could you do it? Yes. Would it make sense? No. Blockchain makes more sense in a kind of data like finances, a ledger. Data that can be immutable. Can't be a source of truth. It's too inconsistent because of the latency. You can possibly do it with a private blockchain, but then the issue with the private blockchain becomes redundancies. Because you can't just have the one private blockchain be the only blockchain out there. You have to make copies. Yeah, but with private, you have a whole lot more issues going into it. Again, there's nothing that blockchain is giving you an advantage of in this case. Aren't SQL DBs best for financial transactions? Best based on what? What is the criteria you think it's best for? Because there's a whole swath of things. And in terms of SQL, the problem with SQL is that you don't have an audit trail by default. You have to enable the audit trail features. So ultimately, what you need to do is you need to have, because like if you're doing financials, you're generally moving away from a typical CRM or a financial planner or that kind of thing. You're moving more into an ERP system, like a Acumatica or a Microsoft Dynamics or stuff like that. Yeah, Turing awards and things like that are totally different. Yeah, Turing awards are more for, the Turing is more to prove, can you reason like a human? Blockchain doesn't solve the problems with people, though. You still have to trust the people putting the data in. You have to trust the data that's being put in is correct. And ultimately, SQL is faster, but the issue with SQL is that unless you have a audit trail going on there, and then you actually have systems set up to have additional stores of the data so that if you do have to do additional audits and polls and things like that, it becomes problematic. Trust me, I had to deal with this on ERP systems. It has its own pain points, trust me. But trust me, I wouldn't necessarily say that you can trust a blockchain. There are so many different ways around a blockchain, just in the way that there's also ways to attack a SQL database. And the only way that the new guy can't change old data, the proper audit trails, resources is super expensive. It is. I think blockchain, just like AI, as I said earlier, is the square peg and round hole for a lot of people. What are the old Linux magazines you mentioned that are older than some of your audience? Let me see if I can grab them, because I just pulled them out the other day. Oy. Linux format, Linux journal, Linux magazine. Yeah, these are the ones I used to pick up at Biker Center all the many years ago. Like, look, the new Ubuntu 9.10 release, talking about traffic shaping. Yeah, there's like so many of these. I think Linux format, this is a little bit older. This is from April of 2010. Yeah, Linux Pro. And we got like Linux Shell, Linux Plus. Don't those magazines get outdated really fast? They do, but a lot of them, I think you forget that these magazines were a monthly subscription. Have you legit read to cover to cover and tried it? Yeah. I don't think you understand. You know there was a time when we didn't have smartphones where we could just scroll on the toilet and play TikTok, right? So what the fuck do you think we did? Brought magazines to the bathroom. You think I'm joking? I think a lot of you really don't understand what the world was like before smartphones. I want you to close your eyes. Okay, just close your eyes. Imagine it's 2010. Okay? The very first iPhone had just come out. Most people don't have it. You are maybe walking around with a Nokia 3310 with T9 texting. Okay, it's 2010. It's a Motorola Razr with T9 texting. You can't open the internet because a megabyte cost you so much on a cell phone back then. Now, I want you to imagine, what would you do with that time you spent feeding the porcelain god your brown duty? That's right. Everyone would bring their books, their magazines into the bathroom. It came in 2007, 2008. Do you understand how few people had an iPhone? I want you to understand this, okay? In 2007, when the iPhone first came out, hey, Sugar, how's it going? Hey, Sugar can actually tell you this, all right? The original iPhone came out in 2007, right? Do you know how many people I knew that had the iPhone? Do you know how many people I knew had the iPhone? Out of everyone I knew, I knew one person that had the iPhone. That one person that had the brand new iPhone, not the 3G, the regular iPhone. I was the one guy that had the iPhone. I was the only goddamn motherfucker in my whole school that had an iPhone. Okay? This is when Android just came out a year or two after that. The T-Mobile little flip phone they had, not the flip phone, the Sidekick or whatever. I bet Sugar didn't even know anyone that had an iPhone until probably the early 2010s. Because I didn't see people with iPhones until the 3G. I really think a lot of people don't realize there was no rush for the brightest brand new smartphone. That wasn't a thing that started until around the iPhone 4. Yeah, you didn't get yours till 2012. That's around the iPhone 4. Yep, more people rock the Sidekick over iPhone. More people rock the Motorola Razr. Or the Crazer. Or a Nokia 3310. Hell, when the iPhone was originally released, I still remember the mall kiosks out there that let you sell the faceplates for your Nokia. Ever had a PDA? I had a Palm Trail. I had a Crackberry. I miss my Crackberry. I'm just gonna look this up. When did iPhone 4 come out? I didn't get my cellular device until 9th grade, and it wasn't an iPhone. My first cell phone I got when I was like in 3rd or 4th grade. I had severe asthma as a kid. Like, I was in the hospital regularly, so my parents were actually worried about me. But I had a little Sprint basic phone that the amazing thing that I could do with it was I could dial 800085 and spell boobs. But yeah, I think people really don't. Yeah, the iPhone 4 came out in 2010. And, oh yeah, that's right. When the iPhone first came out, they were only available in the US, France, Germany, and Japan. And I remember when the iPhone first came out, you could only get an iPhone with an AT&T service. So, I had an Android with a keyboard and touchscreen. Those were the days. I remember T-Mobile made one of the first Android phones. Do you remember that? I remember playing with that in a class when I was in detention. T-Mobile first Android phone. So the T-Mobile, yeah, this is what it was. The HTC Dream, the T-Mobile G1. And this thing was pretty awesome. Okay, hold on. It's loading. There we go. So this was the very first Android. Remember this? T-Mobile had it as a competitor to the iPhone. Physical keyboard. That keyboard, this. I forgot those were a thing. But yeah, that was the very first Android that I can recall. And the honest truth is, yeah, smartphones weren't as much of a big craze as people think they were. When I first had my iPhone, there was no app store. The apps were basically just websites you loaded up on your phone on a 2G Edge connection. That shit was so slow. The main appeal of it was, oh, I can use my phone and my iPod at the same time. The App Store as we know it didn't come to exist for another 2 or 3 years. We used to have to jailbreak our phone to install more local apps. The first iPhone video games were the result of us jailbreaking our phones using Cydia to install mobile game apps. Very rudimentary at first. Ever touched Nokia Booklet 3G? In my own opinion, it's the best laptop ever. I know someone's still using it for work. I haven't tried the Nokia ones, but I did use the Dell, the indestructible Dell laptops. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the Toughbooks. Love those. No, that's the Panasonic Toughbook. But there's the Dell equivalent ones. I actually knew a geologist that took a Dell laptop with him, one of those Toughbooks, for them to actually, do his geological work while on a volcano in Hawaii with that laptop, because that laptop was also rated for like volcanic ash and shit. It's crazy, some of those high-end laptops out there. It's insane what they can do and what they can withstand. That's also the only laptop that someone's openly said, hey, drop this laptop off the stairs and see what happens. Nothing happened. Speaking of laptops, I'm still waiting for my laptop. I remember the G1 and the Member Berries, Member 2. PDA Net was my first love for on the go. Man, BlackBerry and Crackberry messaging. Y'all remember BlackBerry messaging? Y'all remember when BlackBerry pulled out of Afghanistan because Afghanistan wanted them to have access to their phones and networks, and they said, F y'all, we're all about security. Bye, Felicia. Man, BlackBerry was the shit. Why did they have to fumble so damn hard? Like, I really wish that BlackBerry did better and worked a lot harder. Same thing with Microsoft. Because I would have loved to have seen an ecosystem today where we'd have a 3 or even a 4-way push for competition. Because right now, like, for example, in the graphics world, we're going from a duopoly to a 3-way competition. And I think that's going to be better for everybody. But also, I just have this feeling right now like phones have stagnated. Like, there's not that much better that we can do in a cell phone, if that makes sense. Like, okay, we have 5G. But in order to get 5G, you've got to have clear line of sight and have so many towers and everything like that. But also, I feel like the current phones today have not improved as much as the phones did like 5, 6, 7 years ago per generation. Like, I remember when I went from the iPhone to the iPhone 3G, there was an actual, like, hey, I picked up a new phone. Boom, this phone is actually way faster. It actually performs in all the ways better. Like, you could pick it up and you could feel the difference immediately. Same thing with the 4, 5, the 6. Right around the time, I think, with, like, the 8 was when I noticed I don't really see the need in buying a new phone every year. I mean, like, the last iPhone I got, I merely went from the 12 mini to the 16 because I just had to spend $180 on the camera to be replaced or whatever. I'm like, fuck that, that's too much. I'm basically just putting more towards a new phone that I should have, I'm putting money down that I should have been putting towards a new phone. And then just got a 16 with AppleCare. Oh, because they will not be available in US, UK, us, etc. So no markets to make profit. It's the same with combustion engines, just a different version of bumpers and colors. Software is key. You're right. And the reason economic downturn in China. Well, the issue with the economic downturn in China is the honest truth is there's not a lot of investment opportunities in the Chinese economy overall. Yes, they have a stock market, but there's been a lot of questions in the faith around the stock market and whether it could be honestly trusted. Most of the people, from my understanding, for my Chinese friends that do investing, there's either peer-to-peer lending, which a lot of them are scams, or it's real estate. And you can't really own real estate in the ways that you can in, the rest of the world. Because in China, it's sold out as, 70-year leases. You don't own the right to the land, per se. You have, rights to use it, but... yeah. And the real estate is a bit of a fog of war. Well, that's one of the issues overall with the Chinese economy and why a lot of China's own businesses are leaving China. You don't know how much you can honestly trust as much as you want to trust. And I'm saying this as there are some great companies in China. I'm not by any means trying to do the would this be xenophobia? The phobia against Asians or whatever. But anyway, but the reality is a lot of China's own manufacturing is starting to move to Vietnam because of the issues that they have with operating a business in the Chinese government. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years. But also, the Chinese economy isn't allowed to compete in the same ways that many other countries are. Like right now, China's EV market, the electric vehicle market, they have amazing cars. I would love to get those cars in the USA. They ain't going to be here for a few years between President Musk and Vice President Trump. Because Elon knows, just like all the American car industry knows, their biggest threat to their business and their entire model of how they do business is the Chinese electric vehicle market. If BYD makes it into the US and gets a foothold here, every American automaker is pretty much effed. Even Ford basically said the same thing when they did an R&D trip to go to China. Ford's not even ready for this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next coming few years. It'll also be interesting to see the electrification of the entire grid. But I do think that we do need to get rid of the dealer market that we have. Dealers are some of the biggest scammy, scummy types of industry. Like, I don't understand the whole dealer market. It's already been happening with electric bikes and scooters. Oh, yeah. Hell, I remember buying one of those Razor scooters that was electrified back in the day. Those were fun. But then the Chinese ones came over and flooded the market and everything. And it was, great. Can you buy directly? So here's the thing. Technically, yes. But there are some states that require you to go through a dealer. Tesla has been the one arguing for direct to consumer sales. Tesla doesn't have dealerships from what I recall in the traditional sense where you go into the lot and then you buy your car and then walk out. You buy a car and then get it delivered to you. There are Tesla like showrooms, but it's not like the same thing where you walk up and like, I want this car with this spec. Now let's go in the back and negotiate terms. And you know what's really jank about the car dealership model too? You know that the sticker price is just suggestion basically. They can sell over sticker price and all that stuff. And the honest truth is, there's a car okay, let me put it this way. I have not really been interested in buying an electric car for as long as I can remember. Tesla, I've been in enough of them to know about the quality issues and all of those things for many years. Look, I've seen a few of my friends' Teslas just fall apart in ways that just don't make sense. A lot of the big dealers don't seem to be that impressive with their cars. But BYD, their Auto 3, I would love to have that car in the USA. I would totally get an EV charger installed in my house to get that taken care of. No problem. I'd love it. Have you seen this car? The BYD Auto 3? You can't import it. I mean, technically you can, but there's all these US regulations and everything. Plus, the US, to address the fact that they can't compete with the Chinese EV market, has a 100% tariff on any Chinese EV. But this... So funny watching Cybertrucks fall apart. I drive a China-made e-bike called the Like Bike. Great battery life, can drive far. $399 after tax, $460, but with import tax probably costs more. Yeah. Like, look at this. Looks a nice little car. Looks like kind of like the Volkswagen Touareg. 7.3, 0 to 100 kilometer an hour. 420 kilometers there. What does WLTP mean? Anyway, yeah, I rode around in these in Portugal. Like, the interior's nice in here. Overall, it looks like a freaking great car. And I rode around in these in Ubers and stuff multiple times when I was in Portugal, and I fell in love with them. And if I recall, they're only 36,000 euro. With tax and everything, comes to about 43, 44. And a charging capacity of DC 88 kilowatts. You can charge from 30% to 80% in just 29 minutes. Toyota Japan has some nice hybrid stuff. Yeah, Japan has a lot of great stuff. Oh yeah, it's front-wheel drive, too. I would have liked an all-wheel drive version, but eh. It's a nice-looking car. I would love to get this. It looks better than a Tesla, I'll tell you that. And you know what this has that Tesla doesn't? It has a Prindle. Chief moves to Portugal to drive a BYD. As including a home charger, move and get it. Oh yeah, this was another cool thing they had. The speakers that this design, so they had these little door panels there. And it was definitely like an ADHD fidget toy. And you have a charger that was in the like right there by the stick shift. That's wireless charging for your phone. It had like this vibe in there, like the lights, so you could control the lighting and everything, give it the vibe you wanted. Yeah, I love this car. Yeah, it's about 50K. Less than 50K. I think when I looked at it, it was about 44 to 46. That e-bike already has 1,500 miles since September 2024. Oh, you put some things on that. Right around Tesla Model 3 pricing. Yes, but this was more spacious than a Tesla Model 3. Like, it was like a mini SUV, like a crossover. So I was a little higher off the ground because I need my SUV style. Mom just got a Toyota hybrid. So the thing I don't like about hybrids is they seem woefully inefficient if you think about it this way. You have to carry around 2 powertrains, 2 engines, fuel sources for both, battery packing tank of gas. It just feels like a lot more weight to do not as much. That's just my opinion. Tesla Model Y costs like 59K. But I'd still rather this. I just haven't been a fan of the Tesla quality control. Because here's the other issue is nobody really has great things to say about customer service with Tesla. OU is crap? What OU? Tesla customer service. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tesla customer service is absolutely horrible. Oh, the Auto 3, 35,895 pounds. Hmm. Wired gave it a 6 out of 10. Then again, they like to go a little bit crazy on some other reviews. Oh yeah, this is another thing I forgot to mention. The view was amazing in here. It reminded me of the Tesla like open thing. 2 trim levels. In the top end design model, your cost $39.69, $49,000 at the time of writing. Barbell door pulls. But yeah, I really love this car. And I think that we need to get some more choices out here. The car is nice. What, the wait on the phone for like 4 hours? Yeah, for Uber and stuff like that, they're fine. But you have to understand, I found BYD cars being used more in Ubers when I was out in Portugal because the reason why people use more Teslas for that thing in the US with Uber and everything is because, yes, electric cars are lower in terms of cost of maintenance, cost of operating the vehicle and everything like that. Here's the reality. If we're talking about the American car market, okay, in terms of electric vehicles, our selection is absolute dog shit garbage in the United States when it comes to any electric vehicle that we have available. There's Rivian, but I think Rivian's priced themselves out a little bit too high because I was looking at a Rivian myself. Yeah, the Rivian starts $69,900. That's almost twice the price of the BYD Auto 3. And the average person doesn't need this. Don't get me wrong. I like the Rivian truck. I like the Rivian truck. I do. I want to, really love it and, want to get one myself. But the issue is I can't, justify it for the price they have. An electric 4Runner. See, the electric 4Runner, I can't go for that. I'd still need a gas 4Runner. Or ideally, if I could somehow do a diesel swap on a 4Runner and put a Cummins diesel in there and then run that shit on French fry oil, hells yeah, I'd do that. So I saw Rivian up close when I was at DEF CON. They were in the car hacking village. There were CTFs that Rivian actually had you do on a Rivian car. You could actually, mess with a Rivian. They look really nice, don't get me wrong. I'd love one myself. But it's one of those, like, I don't see myself justifying the cost for that car. Because here's the thing. If I'm spending $70,000 on a car, I want that car to last 10 to 15 years. Here's the reality. Electric cars, if you think about them, we still haven't really tested the longevity of these cars. How will they last after 5, 10, 15 years? Software, hardware, maintenance, all of that stuff. With a $36,000 car like the BYD Auto 3, okay, I can justify, 5, 6, 7 years and then go get a new car. But if I'm dropping $70,000 on a car, I'm damn well getting it brand new and getting it to last 15 years. Opel is not in the U.S. Opel is a French company, if I'm not mistaken. We also don't have Clio, Renault, and Peugeot. Opel cars. No, Opel Rembaha. Okay, so it's German. But no, we don't have Opel. Who was I thinking of? No, I was thinking of Bugatti for some reason. Bugatti's French, Opel is not. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Bugatti is French. That's what I was thinking of. For some reason, my brain went there. Yeah. Oh, Opel is owned by Stellantis. Well, goodbye, Opel. You're gonna go to shit if you're with Stellantis. Biodiesel hybrid engines should be the future. Nah. Cars? Alright. If we can get an electric car to run off of thorium, that would be the future. I think I read somewhere like you would only need like 1 gram of thorium to run a car for like 50 years or so. Wouldn't that be lovely? To just buy your car and never have to refill it. Thorium in a car. Oh, 8 grams. 8 grams of thorium could power a car for an entire lifetime. But yeah, that'd be really interesting if we could somehow get a thorium reactor in there. I know it's realistically not possible because of the size of a salt reactor and all of that stuff and everything. Cost of 1 gram of thorium. Thorium price conversions, cost calculators. Hold on. If I were to buy thorium today, 99.99% at 1 gram would cost me $1,425 off of this one website here. So I want you to break down 1 gram of that. So 8 grams. That's $11,400. Or, if we were to break it down into gas prices today, $2.80, that would net you 4,071.43 gallons. Now let's see, my car's about 18.5 gallons. That would net you 220 gas fill-ups for your car completely at empty in order to match the price of all the thorium you would have to buy. That's insane. Now, of course, this is a concept. It's probably not going to be anywhere near there, but yeah. In Bulgaria, most cars run on propane. I once ran a go-kart off of moonshine. That was fun. Want to build a home server? What's the first step and use case? Well, home server is just that. It's a server that's in your home. Okay, so all you need, like, when you're thinking about what is the first step? Well, you have 2 things. You have a server and you have a client. What does a server do? A server serves you data. So all you need for a home server is a server to be at home serving data to something else, and that is a home server. I'm not trying to, be facetious or anything like that. So the question is, what data are you trying to serve? Do you just want to have a file server to host your files? Are you looking at having, there's so many different ways you can go with this. So as far as use cases, that's for you to decide what you want to do. You want a network attached storage drive? Do you want to, maybe build a firewall? Do you want to, hold a... There's Steam caching servers. There's so many different things you can do with it. So it's more of a question of, what do you want to do with said hardware and software? That'll matter more than anything. Enron egg. Yeah, that damn Enron egg. I still can't believe Enron's still around. That blows my mind. Oh yeah, and by the way, before I forget, we will be watching Blazing Saddles in the Discord voice channel this weekend. So 9 o'clock Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. Come in, watch a classic comedy, Blazing Saddles. That is a movie y'all definitely couldn't see remade today. I'll tell you that. There are so many jokes I could not repeat in here. I still can't believe... Is that Enron egg a real thing? Like, is someone actually doing this? Okay, yeah, Forbes said it's totally fake. A micronuclear reactor that promises to power your home for 10 years straight. Oh, it's a hoax from a parody company of the same name. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. Bearing the old company's logo, announced an egg-shaped device that supposedly will revolutionize home energy. You know, how much money did they spend in getting that entire thing to CES and everything? Okay, egg CEO. Wait, did this dude literally have a whole talk and everything? Oh, dude, it's the birds aren't real. Oh my god. Ah. 23rd anniversary of the company's bankruptcy filing with a press release and an official-looking promo video. Of Bird's fan, but the company's own terms and conditions say the website is protected parody for entertainment purposes only. Okay. Purchased, and he's been planning this for a minute. He purchased that trademark in 2020. So what kind of money is he making off of this? He's got it. Like, this has involved some money. He spent $275 on the trademark. But between the graphic design and everything like that, he spent some money. I'm really curious how he makes his money. Huh. I don't know, but I might spend $25 on a t-shirt. I'd spend $25 on a t-shirt for Enron. But, like, this is one of those memes that, like, my generation is the last that will understand this. Like, Gen Z is not going to see, like, an epic failure like Enron had with any luck within our lifetime. There shall be scuff on every Twitch stream. What do you mean by that? I am still blown away that Meta is making the moves that they are doing. That just blows my mind how insulated Mark Zuckerberg is from the Yeah. I'm really curious, at what point does Facebook really start to fail? There's got to be a point at which Meta is going to buckle and people are just going to get tired of them. Because here's the thing, Facebook caused a genocide. That whole Myanmar issue and everything like that. People forget how bad Facebook is. And I think we need to stop giving passes to people like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk just because they have money. We need to... I just don't know what they're thinking about throwing AI into the mix while getting rid of their content creation, their content moderation. It already failed its quest keeping Facebook alive. Isn't Facebook declining? Last I checked. Because, like, Facebook has literally reached everyone on Earth. Is Facebook on the decline? So I'm reading this. I don't want to read that. That was a extremely, like, biased report to the point of, Yeah, they have 2 billion daily active users. But the honest truth is I'm finding less and less people that are saying they're actually wanting to, use it. Yeah. Like, younger users are leaving the platform. I do hope that a lot more people start actually looking to socialize with people. But I don't know anyone in Gen Z that use Facebook. Yeah, I only seen old people use it. Yeah, Yitz, I have to straight up ask him when I went on Facebook Marketplace to get my lawnmower and all that. I have to ask him to use his Facebook account because I just cannot bring myself to create a Facebook account. I deleted mine years ago. I don't see the point in it. I really don't. I don't see the point in even my Instagram. My Threads, I am like this close to just like deleting that account. I barely get any engagement on there. Like, what did Musk really think? Like, we were just going to, you know, have a version of Twitter where we couldn't talk about politics, get censored and suppressed and everything. I mean, hell, Facebook has been so out of touch with its own user base. I remember making complaints about the moderation a decade and a half ago. Do you know how many times I've gotten banned off of Facebook for making Jewish jokes? And I'm Jewish. Do you know how many times I would literally get banned for 30 days at a time for things that didn't make sense? Power bottlenecks for AI's consumption. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing is AI is pretty much reaching its limits in the current shape and form that it exists because you could only train a model on so much data until it can't really do much more and benefit from that. It's plateauing in terms of how efficient these models become. And Facebook doesn't know how to innovate anymore. Facebook only knows how to purchase, copy, and acquire. They don't know how to design, innovate. Like, hell, even a lot of the things that we used to know, love, and use Facebook for has gone away. Hell, I remember Farmville on Facebook. Do y'all remember those turn games and all that stuff? I don't see anyone using Facebook for gaming anymore. I don't even see people using Facebook to be social anymore. I see most people using Facebook to just bitch at each other and then, what's the word? Um, just start, like, political fights with each other. When y'all are just screaming into a void, nobody gives a shit. But it is what it is. I have an interesting feeling, although at the same time, I could be completely wrong in this. Trump might ironically be what kills a lot of social media. Because a lot of people like myself, we're tired of the bullshit, and we just want to go online and enjoy our cat and dog and memes and all those other stuff, and not deal with this constant bullshit and fighting. Like, have you noticed how quiet Twitter is compared to what it used to be? It's like dead. Yeah, I remember those games, and I remember playing this one free game on Stadia, and I looked it up a while ago, and Facebook bought it. Ah! Stadia was actually kind of interesting. So the problem is, Facebook doesn't know how to innovate. Google knows how to innovate, but doesn't know how to sustain a product. If Google could actually sustain the product while innovating, they could regain a lot of the greatness that they used to be. But the problem is, no one wants to give anyone a lot of faith for any Google product because they're like, it's probably just going to be in the Google graveyard next year. But I'm really curious to see what might happen with Facebook if they change into this community moderation model. The EU might not be happy with them. Year-over-year growth and monthly active users. So this is the kind of chart I'm kind of interested in over here. 3 billion users, number of monthly and daily active users worldwide. Year-over-year growth in monthly active users and daily active users. See, like, I remember we all were very active on Facebook. And I remember quitting around somewhere around this slump. But we stopped growing. In terms of year-over-year growth. It'll be interesting to see what the internet becomes in a few years. All honesty, for younger generations, it's the same thing, but it's TikTok. Except the younger generation's going to be forced to move platforms in a way we haven't seen since MySpace. But MySpace went away because of the natural progression of technology, and Tom sold MySpace. And a corporation bought it up, had no idea what the hell they were doing with, and then Facebook came around, and people naturally swung over to that. But this is the first time we're actually going to see a mass exodus of a social media platform because of an artificially created situation in which government decided these people are not allowed to use a platform. I also think that this entire TikTok ban and the fact that Biden actually did it is going to hurt Democrats with the youth a lot worse than they think. Because here's the thing. If Donald Trump pulls a rabbit out of his hat and saves TikTok, the kids are going to remember that. A lot of them are going to completely forget that Trump was the reason why it was going to get banned in the first place. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Yeah, I remember those games and playing those free games. Oh, yeah, Facebook Live. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming years and months and all that. We got 13 days until the inauguration. And then 100 more days after that to see what'll happen. In all honesty, I have the gut feeling of you just gotta hold out till midterms when he loses a few more seats, probably, because historically the incumbent party loses power. But yeah, 12 for the ban, which reminds me, I gotta make my video this weekend and edit it pretty fast to get up on YouTube and cut some parts out. It's basically going to be my happy welcome to 2025 video. Here are my plans for what I'm hoping to do. Thanking everyone for getting me to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube and everything. And cut up parts, of course, for TikTok so that people know to follow me there. It blows my mind that my YouTube even has 2,000 people following me. And I'm thankful for every single one of you. It's unfortunately really sad to see that I might be losing my audience of 370,000 people or so. But it's the unfortunate way of life. I grew up with MySpace going away. I've always been mentally prepared for the fact that TikTok might be going away too. But I honestly thought Facebook would go away before TikTok. But I didn't expect the government to come around and just start banning it. So, it's bitter. It's upsetting. But we made a community before. Here on TikTok. And we can remake it again. Except now, I've got my own Discord, my own Twitch, my own, Mastodon, Blue Sky, all of these things going on. And it'll be a fun journey, I think, to grow. And who knows? Maybe in a year, 2 or 3 from now, I'll have maybe 300 and some odd thousand people following me on YouTube. And we'll be looking back at the time when I had 370,000 on TikTok fondly. But remember, if it wasn't for TikTok, I and a lot of creators would have never started. This was my gateway drug into content creation. I never saw myself as being a content creator. I never saw myself as a Twitch streamer. I never saw myself as a YouTube, video maker or anything like that. I mean, it wasn't until, Did you cut off that? YouTube /Chief. Did you cut off my username there? Yeah, you cut off my username. I'm on Chief Geek 3D. Yeah, I have a YouTube. But, The thing I'm kicking myself about is I also knew for a year I needed to make YouTube content, but I kept psyching myself out thinking it was going to be a lot harder than it was. And finally, one day, I just, recorded a video, and then started doing a couple of basic videos and building up from it. And I kicked myself that it was a lot easier than I thought it was. So my advice to a lot of people, put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Tinker. Challenge yourself. Doesn't have to be in content creation. It could be in anything. Put yourself in uncomfortable positions and situations. Like, you ever gone go-karting? No, go out and do it. You ever gone shooting? No, go out and do it. You know, do something. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You might learn a new hobby. You might like it. Kick off the OF. Okay, so straight up, I have been thinking about this. What if, all right? What if I get my new camera? If and when. We make an OnlyFans just of all the computer case fans I can buy from Micro Center. Yeah, you like that idea? We'll make an OnlyFans of just fans. And then we can have an exotic section of fans. We get those like fold-out fans. I'm talking about. Maybe we can find some motherboard that you blur out. Oh my God, yeah. Jesus Christ died for our sins. If you do not sin, he died for nothing. That is basically what I've told my friends also when I go out drinking. Yeah. Look. I mess with my friends all the time. Half the shit I say they don't even believe. Like, what was it? One of my friends at work came into work with a sweater on with Jesus that says reason for the season. If kids in countries with internet censorship can access social media, I think a plan can be made. I think so. But the issue isn't so much as access to the media. The other issue is, and this has a paralyzing effect, a lot of people are on TikTok making content because there is a revenue avenue. People are making money on this app. We have to make an investment in our time to make money. Yes, there are a lot of people using TikTok for pure enjoyment and stuff like that, but most people making the content on TikTok are doing it with the incentive to make money. If you remove the possibility for a lot of these people to take the money and make money, then they don't bother with the platform. That's a big reason why everyone wants to be on social media making content. They want this glorified, idealized version of a life where they can go and do things on their own schedule and not realize content creation in and of itself is another job. I've been mentally preparing myself for the reality that if my content creation does become successful enough that I can actually turn this into some kind of an income stream that's sustainable, this would become another job. And in some ways, it feels like it would be more stressful than my cybersecurity job. Because with cybersecurity, I kind of know what I'm going in with. I know what I'm going to be, doing, and can architect a plan. I can plan for days, weeks, months, years out. But with content creation, things can change in a moment. I got a plan for content, stop when some content's going, go there, and I'm dependent upon myself to make money on that kind of thing. So it is also a stressful idea around those things too. How to get 150K from crypto. Step 1, get a 300K loan from dad. 2, step 2, invest in high risk shitcoins. Step 3, seize the price tank and get scared and pull out. Step 4, block dad and flee the country. Profit 150K. But yeah, in all honesty, I would like the possibility to turn this into a second job. But I don't see that happening for several years. I'd also like to make money for my staff and everything that's here so that they can make a little bit of money, my graphic designer, my editors, all that, but these things will take time. I'm just kicking my ass over the fact that I've wasted so much time that I should have been making YouTube and other content while doing this. But that's my own cross to bear. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. We're here now. I at least have the following that I do now. Should make videos at 2 a.m. Maybe I'll be more productive now that Gitz is doing some business and traveling. There's DEF CON in Europe too, I guess. Well, that's not DEF CON, that's Chaos Communication Conference. And that's one thing I would love to eventually go and see, is the Chaos Communication Conference. This year, I'm hoping to make it to B-Sides Las Vegas, as well as DEF CON. I'm hoping. I will have information, hopefully within the next month or so, as to that trip. As well as my camera equipment and all that shit. And hopefully towards the end of the year, I can have a better idea of where my career progression is going to start going. In terms of, do I stay in this country or do I move? I want to move, but I need to get some things in a row. And that's honestly a big reason why I do want to invest more into content creation, because if I can at least make that into a somewhat profitable second job, that allows me to get the ability to move and have the ability to function in the way I want. The other thing I would love to do, if I can get myself to that part in my life, is I would also like to do some more lifestyle content and everything. Give you guys the, not just tech side of things, but I feel like there's a lot of things that are overlooked when I travel. Like, a lot of people overlook Ohio and the Midwest for tech and things like that, and give you all the understanding of why I actually still like to work in this region. And even though the weather sucks, why I do recommend a lot of people to work out here instead of, a lot of people say, oh, if you want to go into tech, I have to go to Seattle or I have to go to California. And people are shocked when I tell them, no, check out Ohio, Virginia, Texas, things like that. I'd also like to travel and do more content of my actual travels in general. I think it'd be fun. But we'll see where this path leads. 2025 is just starting. I think it's going to get really fun, really interesting. And I think we have a lot of amazing things planned. The other thing I'll also be doing with a little bit more of my content, just so that you're all prepared. I know on Twitch, we get a little bit more political. In my long-form content, we're not going to be as political, but we're still going to be political at times when it's called for, because there's going to be laws, regulations, things like that come down the pipeline that I do feel like I'm going to have to make some commentary on, because like when it was the Kids Online Safety Act and things like that, a lot of people need to have an informed voice with these different things. So it'll still be in the lens of cybersecurity and IT, right to repair, privacy, cybersecurity freedoms, and all that. But yeah. Go through the clips and make a highlight of 2024. You can do that. for right now, yeah. But for right now, it's getting pretty late. I do got to do some work stuff tomorrow. I got to go see the doctor. Nothing major, just physical, all that. And then trying to see how we can address some things to lose some more weight. And hopefully I can talk to y'all about that. But I love all y'all. Colonoscopy. I might need to get one of those in a few years. We'll see. But anyway, I love all of you. Happy hacking. Stay safe out there. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials, as well as join the Discord server. I am on TikTok, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Mastodon, I'm on YouTube, Twitch, PixelFed. There's the Threads. There's also Discord. And there's Matrix. And, of course, stick around if you're over on Twitch as well for the raid. We'll be raiding out. Otherwise, I'll see you on Thursday, when I should be back for more content and everything. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to join the Discord. Don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky, Mastodon, YouTube, and Twitch. Love y'all. See you around. Happy hacking. We got 2 more weeks of TikTok. Stick around for the raid.